As I suspected, 32 flavors.
That's my opinion!
What's up, everybody? How is everyone tonight? We are here, and this is Spinal Tap for the 57th episode. Just did a Vigilante Williamson nod right there. How are you, everyone in the chat? What's up, guys? D. Bud Martin, welcome, sir. Ready to rock out right away. Phantom Outsider, my guy. Rudy, how you doing, Rudy? Glad you're back in the States. So awesome to have you here for a live show. Sean Esep, huge. Yes, what's up, Sean? The lovely Sherry. What's up, Sherry? Nice to see you here as well. And Cardinalson coming in hot right away. $9.99 super check. Greetings all. This should be a really interesting episode. You damn right it will be. Thank you for the $10, Cardinalson. And I cannot wait to have you back on for that episode. So we'll be talking about that soon, sir. Andrew 46N2. What's up, Andrew? How are you doing? Thank you for being here. All right. Let's bring in our panelists here. We're going to start with the man of many voices. Tom.
Mine go to 11.
I just saw you a half hour ago. How are you, Tom?
I'm going to 11.
You're going to 11. It goes to 11. Do you go to 11?
Yes. This is it. This is Spinal Tap. Yes, indeed. Cannot wait to get into this one.
I can't wait either. Thank you for taking your time. I know obviously we were just on meet together. I know you got a birthday thing to do later, so thank you for the time for tonight. This is gonna be a fucking awesome show. So glad to have you here, sir. All right. Gonzalo Bergali, how you doing? How you doing? All right, let's bring in Gerry from the Pop Culture Minefield, aka Midnight's Edge Jr.
Midnight's Edge Jr. Yeah, I love that. Hey, it's like what is that? Nick Jr. It's really funny you said it, Keith, and of course, I mean Tom. You did something that we actually pulled off this weekend, and nobody believed just how loud I could be. And Keith tried to hand me a microphone. I said, I'll get everybody to listen. And I bellowed very loudly, and the two people up front closest to the stage leapt when I yelled. Pay attention. And I said, that's right. I go to 11. One person laughed. Nobody got the joke.
Wow, dude. Well, Gerry, I'm glad you're here. Now, I know we have missed you, sir. So tonight the world is making a little bit more sense with you around.
Oh, that's it. He's going away, getting his booze.
Oh no,
maybe he's going to go pee. I don't know what he's. He's
no.
back. He's right.
No booze tonight. I know. Don't be bummed, Chad. Don't worry, we're still gonna have fun. No booze for me tonight. Tonight, I be responsible. Anyways, glad to have you back, Gerry. Let's get this show rolling.
Gerry?
You're stuck with Gerry now.
Well, I did say I was going to, once we start doing a show together, Tom and I were going to call it Tom and Gerry. I am going to switch my name to Gerry.
Do I get to be like the bulldog, like dad of it, or like
you can be if you want to. You can be in there. You can be our producer that's on microphone.
Yes, would love that. Fucking mate, please and thank you. And then that 70s rock fan with a British steel, Judas Priest. Sure, I'm feeling a little hell-bent for leather right now. How are you, sir?
Well, not great, but I'm sure I'd feel much worse if I wasn't under such heavy sedation.
So you've got drugs.
I feel great. I am doing great, and it's so good to do this fucking awesome movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got a story to tell about this movie, and it's something you guys are not going to be expecting. I might even get some blowback about this one, but once I get all the guys in here, I'll tell it because it's definitely noteworthy.
Glad we got around to it.
All right.
Is your review of this movie shit sandwich?
Shit sandwich. That's not true. You can't write that. Who wrote that?
And the man who
as
has...
a drummer, I can tell you, I never choked on anyone else's vomit.
You can't dust for vomit, you know.
So if Gary disappears tonight, it's because of his internet connection, not because he spontaneously combusted.
That could happen too, though.
You never know.
It does.
You
Literally
never know.
thousands of people, hundreds of people each year literally spontaneously combust. But hello, everyone. Sorry.
How you doing, Mark D with a C?
Spinal Tap is one of my favorite movies. I mean, I just love it. And finally, someone gets that joke, as I always say, like, I love Spinal Tap. And it's like, everyone's like, but the movie is called Spinal Tap.
I do. I've had the same problem too.
Fuck off. It's not. Watch the movie. I watched it 3 times today in the director's commentary and both commentaries. So I'll try not to interrupt too much with
who managed to get through the 4.5 hour cut that I sent everybody?
I did.
Didn't manage it.
I watched
too
it,
long.
man. I fucking loved it.
A small portion of it.
Yeah, it's a classic, and here's my Criterion collection. Thank you, Tom, for sending that bootleg. But this is
I have that disc somewhere and I couldn't find it for tonight.
I finally found it, and it's one of those old-fashioned discs, the double-sided disc, but it had like 2 hours of extra footage or an hour.
Yeah.
But this was like unobtainium for a while, so I think I paid like $150 on eBay years ago. I had to have.
I got to tell you, when you say old-fashioned disc, I'm thinking like onion skin or something like that. And you're like, oh, I mean, just a few years ago.
Well, guys, we got a panel here. We got all these avatars, and there's a lot of black around them. And I don't know how much more black this all could be. So I'm just going to dim out for a minute.
None more black.
None more black. All right, Mark. You, sir.
It's fucking depressing. That's what it is.
I'm happy to have you, sir. And I'm glad you could keep the visuals and contribute your voice to the bond. And we're going to have a smashing night tonight. So thank you for being here, Mark. Let's walk on and bring Mr. Quito Simple Brutal Dustin himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys all in Cleveland?
We can't find the stage, though.
Hello, Cleveland!
Cleveland!
Cleveland rocks.
Oh, man. How's your weekend?
It was good, man. Good.
Awesome.
I mean, it's always kind of a weekend for me, but
Well, I'm just glad you're here, sir. I'm glad that you came on along with the other gents for a few nights ago. It was a blast having you on, so I appreciate it. And I'm ready to fucking roll, dude. And of course, I'm going to acknowledge a few more faces. Animal confused. I haven't seen you before, but welcome to Toxic Tuesday.
It's okay. It's not a big college town.
Sean Step.
Nick,
what's up?
Nick, I'm making the official announcement. She's my significant other.
Welcome, significant other.
Her name is.
It's because of your fucking wife. She's not my wife. Oh, it's your fucking wife.
I like Gerry.
I'm picking on Gerry. That's from the movie, of course.
Nobody says my name like her, by the way.
What's up, Cody Guy, Dr. Dragon, and of course the great moderator, just another red shirt. Sadly we'll miss you on here, sir, because I know you got your internet issues, but thank you for hanging out. And of course, we got to introduce our guest tonight to the show. He's another long hair himself, and maybe I don't know if he's got a voice, but he's got a voice to hang up with the boys here tonight. Mr. Joe's Atmosphere.
What's going on, mates? It's good to see you. I forgot my crab mask for the show tonight, but always thinking safety first. I'm ready to push the dwarf out of the way and keep him safe whenever Stonehenge shows up. So we're good to go.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh, shit. Did we hire dwarves?
Yeah, there's the dwarf. We need a dwarf
that's
on
right.
the panel.
That's Mark D with a C as a dwarf. That's right.
I'm
You
not
tell
that
in the
short.
photo. Look at how he sits. He tries to make himself look taller.
No, thanks for having me, Nick. I appreciate it, man. I love this show. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no, pleasure to have you on. You know,
I was ready to choke comics the night he changed his member stream to when you did Blazing Saddles. I really was. I was mad at him. I was like, dude.
Where the white women at?
Right? Where all the white women at?
No, dude, I've been wanting to have you on here. Obviously, when I had you on the Comic Shop Talk a few months ago, I think that was. Yeah, obviously, it was a blast to have you on.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm like, he could totally fit on a Toxic Tuesday show. So just glad to have you here, sir. We're gonna have some fun tonight. And
Glad to be here. Let's do it.
Awesome. And so I guess I'll lead off with a very fun fact about my life story with this movie. When I first saw this movie, I fucking hated it. I'm not joking. I hated it. And
you're in the fucking
why.
movie, Nick.
I know.
Inconceivable.
Here's why I hated it. At the time, I was like, when I watched it, I had been doing a lot of band stuff, and being in bands, and of course, I was going through a lot of like I'd done a ton of reading on books, autobiographies from bands and their experiences, with labels and such. So like reading those stories, and just I didn't see the movie as much of a comedy. I saw it as just like, holy crap, like I could see why bands get annoyed by like all the middlemen and the labels.
You saw it as a tragedy.
I saw it. Thank you. So I was like, what the fuck? So then, of course, a lot of the band stuff kind of went away from my life. Then I kind of came back to movie a few years later. And then I saw it completely differently as a comedy, from stuff like the Spinal Tap, turned it to 11. And I'm like, how the fuck did I miss all this shit the first time? And then I learned later on, I would watch interviews from other bands, like, big name bands like Slash from Guns N' Roses. He had said like something along similar lines that this movie hit too close to home to him, that like it was hard for him to see it as a comedy at first. And I could understand that perspective, is all I'm getting. And that's why I saw it the way I did first. But now I'm in fucking love with it. And there's so many great lines galore. And I don't know. It's just something you wouldn't expect from a guy who is in the movie that kind of looks like me, who is also the voice of Ned Flanders, by the way. But that's a story conversation for.
Yeah, did you see the comment I left
and
on
half of Lenny and Squiggy
on Tom's thing earlier? I said he should like this movie. Harry Shearer's his father, isn't he? Yeah. Got the same mustache, hair, and everything.
Yeah, so that's my true Hollywood story.
Harry Shearer is really short.
Now, did anybody, because like, are any of you guys old enough? I think Joe is my age, and so is 70s, that remembers their first appearance on TV in 79.
I don't, but I wish I did. I'm not that old.
Weren't they on,
sadly not. 1979?
Lenny and the
Saturday Night Live.
79.
Was it Saturday Night Live? Huh?
It was called the TV show, and it
was
had
it?
Rob Reiner on it. Yeah, it was a Rob Reiner thing. They brought it over later onto SNL because all of them worked on SNL.
Yeah, all of them were on SNL.
And they, of course, also appeared as the rock band on SNL. But
see, I always kind of thought they were a predecessor to the Blues Brothers. Oh, I didn't know that.
So was this before or after the movie, Gary?
It was way before the movie. The movie came out in
the Blues Brothers were the predecessor. I mean,
the
movie came out in 84.
Yeah. And I was 20 when it came out, but I remembered them from TV. I'm like, God, they remind me of those guys that were on that TV show. And then later I found out, oh, that was them.
Wow. Well, that's how the Blues Brothers got their start too. I mean, they started off as a skit on SNL, and then all of a sudden it blew up, and they made a movie and an album that. Wow, that album.
And you and I are old enough to remember that shit, Joe, because I watched it when it was live. I never missed it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
My introduction was actually on The Simpsons, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm sure with him doing all those voices on there, I'm sure they did something on that show.
Well, and they did, and I didn't know anything about them. So of course, then that same time they were on The Simpsons was to promote their second album, Break Like the Wind.
Dude,
the album names are killer, man.
No, you're good. Let's show it off. There we go.
Yep. There's Break Like the Wind. It's a great album. And then, of course, later on, they did a third album there where they redid a bunch of their hits.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Back from the Dead. And, of course, we always still have the original.
The Black Album.
You got to have the Black Album.
The Black Album.
The Black Album, yes.
From 1984, the original Gatefold Black Album. It actually has the art for all the albums. There you go. And just like a little like history of the band and all that stuff. It's hilarious.
Did you get it that record store?
Is the name on the binder? Is it Sniff the Glove?
No, it's Spinal Tap from the original motion picture. This is Spinal Tap.
Oh man.
But yeah.
It just says.
And of course, I've got two different versions of the movie, even though I don't have the Criterion like you guys do. I should have it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. I have the foreign special edition. It goes up to 11 edition.
Mm.
That actually has the return of Spinal Tap on it, which is a whole new special they did back in the 90s to correspond with Break Like the Wind. And of course, just the standard Blu-ray.
Yeah, wasn't that why they appeared on SNL? To support that or promote that?
They did come back there, but I can't remember I thought they did show up in the mid 80s or whatever on SNL too. But
yeah, I remember that. Like they did, I think, Living on a Sex Farm, and
might even have been the episode that Rob Reiner hosted or something like that, because he wasn't a part of the original thing. I don't think.
I don't think it's what's his name, not Christopher Guest, the other guy, blonde-haired guy. I always forget his name.
Lenny. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, Lenny from Lenny and Squiggy.
Yeah, well, he was on SNL at the time too. People forget that.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
What's his last name? McLean.
McKean.
Michael McKean.
Michael McKean.
Michael McKean. That's it. Yep.
Well, the actually that I was watching all the, as I said before, all the director's cut and commentaries, and they said some of the songs were written for Lenny and the Squigtones. They had another group name before, and they were some of those songs were written for there. So it was a long gestation, if you will, of the movie. And someone just asked how did they have a 4-hour cut? I mean, they had like over 30 hours of just interview footage. And some of the times they said there were some really funny scenes that they had to cut because the other scene after that got cut. Like they said, there was a interview at the radio station, and the intro to that was really funny, but they said the radio station scene didn't work that well, so they cut that. So, I mean, if you're a real fan of this movie, grab that Criterion cut or any of those, watch that bootleg.
I'd love to see that, man.
Well,
I've only seen
so much extra stuff.
I want to point out also that as Soldier is considered a sidequel to Blade Runner, A Mighty Wind is a sidequel to Spinal Tap.
Kind of. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Christopher Guest and crew all kind of went on to do.
My tongue in my cheek, by the way.
Yeah, they did a lot of films in the similar, they did a similar thing.
Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah,
Waiting for Guffman. I love that.
Best
movie.
in Show is probably one of the best of the bunch. If not,
oh my god, that was so funny with the dogs.
That one's really
every time you mentioned Christopher Guest, all I can do is just sit here and be jealous because I'm a big fan
who
of his
he's married
wife,
to, and
my
also
God.
Isn't he in the House of Lords?
He is a member of the House of Lords.
He's a member of the House of Lords. Yeah, he's even made a speech
from actual royalty,
Lord and Lady,
a nobleman.
So who wants to take a guess on the panel, real quick? Which famous musician thought this was a real band?
Oh, a lot of them did.
I guarantee you a lot of
one
them
of the a lot of them did, but one of the most funny ones, which should be obvious, was Ozzy. Ozzy thought
that's what I was about to say.
Well,
Ozzy Osbourne had to think that was real.
Oh, Ozzy actually got straight up played by this
because he was heavily sedated.
He probably thought he toured with them.
Spinal Tap.
Does
Does that come with a smear? What the hell?
Tom, that's your next impression.
Those guys, I was on tour with them. Shout out, I go on tour with Spinal Tap.
That's got to be a tranny.
Spinal Tap.
That shit right there
Spinal
is
Tap.
scary. Right there.
No, Ozzy, it's Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tarp.
Yeah, Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap.
Stones of Speed is my favorite group.
Direct from hell.
And the other thing to mention too is that a lot of the lines are ad libbed. So like Bruno Kirby, totally ad libbed. Fran Drescher, totally ad libbed.
When you've loved and lost the way that Frank has,
Yeah, and it's just a fad. This just hate to tell him, it's just a fad, but it's all ad libbed. And he said, Reiner said too, that's one of the reasons you find all the actors are listening because they're waiting for the cue or the spot to jump in. But Sir Ian Hogg, he needed to have his lines written out. But other than that, most people, it's just total ad lib, which is the genius. So a lot of times you'll see like the scene where they're reviewing, they're saying shit sandwich, and Michael McKean, they're all laughing. He's like, well, that was the first time we heard that. Rob Reiner went into that and didn't tell them what the questions were going to be. And he's just reading in the questions. They use the R word in this movie too, the tarded word, and other stuff, right? Yeah,
that's why this is definitely going to score high on Toxic.
Yes, it is. This movie is definitely going to be.
Yeah.
But
of course they did plan out. Yeah, I was gonna say they did plan out all the setups though, like the fun and goofy
everything
stuff,
was
but
planned out. It's just what they said was.
But in the interviews and some of the just like fly on the wall, reality kind of docu style some of that, a lot of that stuff was all ad libbed. Yeah, sorry, you were going to say about Bruno. Though.
No, I just want to say that I'm glad you brought up Bruno Kirby because he is an actor that was taken away from us way too young, from a disease. And what an actor! And he's so good in this. And I don't think he's in it enough, to be honest.
Well, the director's cut or the extra footage, there's like a half hour of him.
Yeah, the 4-hour cut, he's way more in it.
Oh, he's in that car. There's all these scenes, and you just
for those who don't know, like the Blu-ray and the Criterion edition have like an hour of extra footage, just deleted scenes in the bonus footage.
Yeah,
but what Gary is talking about for people who don't know, I actually have a 4.5-hour cut of the film, and he watched it all.
I watched the entire thing.
So if you understand, they cut that down to 83 minutes. That means besides the 60 minutes that are already out there that you've probably seen, there's another 2.5 hours of this movie you haven't seen.
And I'm telling you, that party scene, that even though it's low quality VHS, I fucking love that scene at that party.
Yeah, it's an early rough cut, but yeah.
Keep this going, Mark. I got something to show up really quick. Thanks to Mr. D. Bud Martin from The Gilded. Yes, I know. Go ahead, say it, Tom. Go ahead.
What am I saying? This one goes to 11?
No, the Gilded quote.
Oh, fuck you, Gilded.
Yeah. Anyways, D. Bud Martin posted this on the YouTube section on the Gilded, and I think this says it all. It's badass.
Gilded. Yes, it is. That's badass.
How selective was the audience that
night?
That's
awesome. So you went to the that would be that tour, I believe, the Break Like the Wind tour.
And Spinal Tap is first on that ticket, not the puppet show.
Not the puppet show this time, yeah. So we were the originals, and then
obviously the girl wasn't running the band then, right?
There was another group on the East End called the Originals. So yeah, we had to call ourselves the new Originals.
It's really well done because it's so close to the history of many real bands.
And then they became the Regulars, so we went back to the Originals.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And the thing about the vomit is the funniest thing to me because how many guys did we lose in the '60s, right? From overdoses and stuff like that. I mean, yeah.
Well, you can't dose for vomit,
right?
Yeah.
Ed Bigley Jr. is the drummer.
St. Elsewhere.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's him.
Nice to see Americans actually try to make it believable. I'm trying to pull off the bridge.
Oh, they did a brilliant job.
They did a great job because usually Americans don't do half as good most of the time with that. It's usually the Brits who the American right.
Handheld Films, George Harrison's company, did a film called The Ruddles. If you guys remember that. What was it called?
Yeah. With the Ruddles or something like that. But handmade film. Yeah. Now, did Ruddles come out before this or after this? That's what I was trying to remember.
Well, the Ruddles were earlier. They were earlier because they were on Rutland Weekend Television.
Well, because wasn't the Ruddles, that was a parody of the Complete Beatles, basically, right? Yeah. And then, so then this was like, but see this... This was at the time. This was making fun of more of the shit like Let It Be, and what's that one the Rolling Stones did?
The
White Album.
Beggars Banquet. No, they're Satanic Majesty's
Cocksuckers Loser, whatever the hell. I think it's called Cocksucker Blues, but anyway, yeah.
They can't prove whose vomit it was.
Absolutely, Rob Altus. Nigel looks like Jeff Beck. It's true. I've said that.
But yeah, at this time we had a shit ton of like rockumentaries that came out, like I was trying to say there. But yeah, like there was one about the Stones and a few other ones that that were really big. And
So who's seen the IMDb page on this movie?
Oh my god, man! How many cameos?
Years ago.
No, but there's something very, very notable on the very specific. I'm assuming you guys don't know about it. Maybe I
didn't go over it with a fine-tooth comb or anything.
I'll show you guys. All right, we're gonna show it off. So keep the screen going, Mark.
Yeah.
So okay, so let me look at the IMDb. Oh, IMDb rating.
I never noticed that.
11 though.
Yes.
You have to be signed out. That's why. See, when you're signed in, it has just the regular rating on it.
Yeah, I'm going there now because I don't recall.
I never noticed that. That is awesome.
I got to tell you something about Fran Dresser here. Soul Assassin was saying how hot she is, and I'm like, yeah, as long as she keeps her mouth shut, that voice is like friggin' nails. chalkboard.
Well, you got to remember that voice is like Pee Wee Herman, right? It's
Yeah,
not her
right?
real voice.
Woof. Crazy. Now,
I always
what
thought that was
comedian
Robert
is that
Englund,
from
but-
SNL. That's the church lady. What's his name?
Dana Carvey.
Dana Carvey. That's it. Yeah.
Mime
The
is mummy.
cameos and
Mime-
his
mime is
boss.
mummy.
You saw who his boss is, right? Later on, right?
Well, you got Billy Crystal
Yeah, Billy
here.
Crystal, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of the SNL crew is here. Like this was early on for Dana, and this Billy Crystal was probably like the hot shit at the time.
Oh
Remember,
yeah.
right, on SNL.
Was he still doing soap at the time?
I'm not sure. I'm sure he was on SNL at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because he left SNL by
I'm-
what, 86, 87, somewhere in there?
Yeah. By the way, Tom, I just checked. You're
I
correct.
think,
If I'm
anyway.
signed in, it doesn't say that, but when I sign out, it says 11 on IMDb.
Yeah, and somebody pointed out, yes, I'm right. The Rolling Stone documentary I'm thinking of is Cocksucker Blues, because that's the one they do not want people to see anymore, because it shows them in such a bad light.
Wow.
And Sir Ian Hogg is a catch on the guy that did the Beatles Get
Yes.
Back documentary. What's it?
Well, yeah,
Mike-
Let It Be.
Lindsay
Sir
Hogg.
Lindsay. Yeah, so that's another inside joke.
Oh, there's Bruno.
Lindsay Hogg.
But
Yeah, there
everything,
he is.
there's such great attention to detail. I mean, Polymer Records as opposed to Polydor.
Yeah,
Also,
Polydor.
that fake.
Well, they did a
material
great job of
Polymer,
making
yeah.
it very believable, right?
Yeah, it's just so, and all the
Use
old
similar
clips.
words.
Yeah.
Also, on top of that, because we brought it up earlier, is you got to point out that each one of these actors chose a specific look that actually resembles somebody in rock and roll.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. I remember that was for obviously for me seeing Sure
Well,
as Lemuel.
I was a little younger at the time,
Yeah.
70s. Refresh my memory. Now, did Spinal Tap come out just on the cusp, or but just before hair rock bands were getting big, or were they already kind
It
of a
was
thing? And-
after they'd started. I mean, like
I was gonna
this
say,
is
'cause I always felt like
84.
they influenced them. I was gonna say, I felt like they influenced the hair rock era a little bit more
Well, I
than
think
people
it was
want to
square
admit.
in the middle of it because it came out in '84. I guess they were making it in '83, but you'd
Well,
had hair metal
if
bands.
there was already hair metal bands, then never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
There
because
were.
I was in high
There
school
were.
then.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
more
I
of
was-
a.
that was my first year in the Army. Yeah, there
It's
was
more of
the
a.
two albums I bought in basic training. They were the biggest ones out at the time. It was the fall of '83. Was Bonnie Tyler's "Total Eclipse of the Heart," that one
Yep.
with the Jeff Steinman song,
Jim
and
Steinman, yeah.
Quiet Riot's "Mental Health" was the
Oh,
biggest
yeah.
record
Big, yeah.
in town at the
So
time.
Technically,
Month of
hair
the-
metal
It's-
hadn't existed yet then. Like
it's
the
very
glam
much
rock.
No,
more-
not yet.
So
Like these guys
sorry,
kind
can
of
I-
invented it, is what I always thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Well, there was Van Halen. You had
They had Van
Def
Halen.
Leppard.
Yeah, Van
Def
Halen was.
Leppard was huge. So you had not as much as the glam maybe, but everyone had
But were they
long
wearing the
hair.
spandex and the,
No,
the
yeah,
hairspray
yeah.
and the makeup?
This
That's what I was
isn't-
curious about.
guys. This isn't a spoof of any of those. This is your standard 1970s British heavy metal,
I was fixing
Band.
to say it,
It
looked
is,
more like
classic heavy metal. Your
Mhm.
Led
deep
Zeppelin.
purples, your
Led Zeppelin is what I
Led
thought of when I
Zeppelins, your
saw the two
Judas
guys
Priest.
guest in bikini.
I get
Tom,
that,
I'm
but
sorry,
if
you
Joe,
look
I'm still talking. I was still
One
talking.
at a time, boys.
Yeah, I was still talking. It's okay. Forget it.
We're
Forget it.
too excited. We love this movie so much.
Yep.
Seriously, I've never heard us so active.
Right, we're like on a high from this movie.
Even
You
in
know,
Blazing
70s.
Saddles, we were more like
Let's
calm.
70s. Go ahead and finish what you're getting at.
Exactly,
no.
70s.
No.
No, he had a point. Come on,
Yeah.
70s. Don't be
Commit.
a Scottish douche. Talk about it, because the fact is, you're right. Judas Priest, in particular, had a big.
Well, that was what I was
influence on me.
curious if they were around yet, because, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know the 70s rock band influence, like 70s was talking about, but like, look at how Nigel's dressed. Like, he dresses like all those glam rock band guys are going, like, at the time. Like, did they have the spandex and the big hair and the makeup yet? Because that's where these guys, like, I see, like, that's the influence I was
He's Jeff
curious
Beck
about.
right there. Absolutely. I've always believed that he was based on Jeff Beck, Christopher Guest character, Nigel. Him, I don't know who he is based on.
I don't know who. I can't figure it out. I mean, they definitely have some interesting outfits, but that was also the 70s, because even if you look at Ozzy when he was in Black Sabbath, he looked so out of place with the clothes he was wearing compared to Iommi and Butler and Bill Ward. Can't believe I almost forgot that. Shame on me. Like, Sorry, metal gods. But anyways, no, there's definitely, all I'm just saying is there's a lot of interesting looks in the late 70s, early 80s. Even if you're in a rock and roll band, there's definitely some looks there.
Yeah,
I love how the drummer keeps changing.
I know.
Every time they show him on stage, there's a different drummer. It's great.
I bet Tox got turned on, Mrs. Flu.
But being in high school when this came out, yeah, those were the big bands. Like your metal, like, you know, wasn't so much the glam stuff in the 70s. 100% right. Yeah, it was it's a spoof of, you know, the classic bands. I mean, Deep Purple, you know, made in Japan. That's how they made their comeback. And I think 84, and that was one of the first big concerts I saw, was Deep Purple at the Meadowlands, like a comeback concert. And you know, they went to Japan to make all their money, and a lot of bands have done that. So that's one of the spoofs too at the end of the movie. So they, you know, the kicker at the end is, you know, when Nigel comes back, they're like, "You want to reform? You know, Smell the Glove is number 5 in Japan." So, I mean, there's a lot of real, like my brother-in-law is a sound engineer, and he said, you know, they play this in the tour bus all the time in the band, like all the, you know, years later, all the bands love this, even though maybe at first, you know, Reiner was saying they weren't trying to make fun of people too, you know, they're trying to be gentle in their commentary, you know, not too mean, but just, you know, spoof the whole thing. So yeah, there's the scene where they're talking about treading a scene of blank poetry, you know, how bad the band is. Yeah, so they're making fun of the music press. They're skewering everyone at this time. So it's just awesome.
And the gag about the drummers, I always thought was kind of like a play on what Monty Python did on their contractually obligated album, where they started talking about this one band who went through all these different names and different band members. And that was back in 1980. And of course, ironically, from that album came the name of another band in 1991, which was Toad the Wet Sprocket, which is one of the band names from Monty Python.
For those wondering, these guys who actually play these characters they actually do the music like that. Like,
they're all musicians.
Despite it being a mockumentary, that's legitimately all them. That's not some. You know.
There's no dubbing from other musicians. They played all their instruments, did all their singing.
And they said they're actually worried about having the notes look wrong on screen. So they went back and refilmed some scenes so that the finger, you know, the notes being
the fingering on the chords,
fingering would match, because they said that drove them crazy when they'd see a movie, and a lot of rock movies or, you know, music in general didn't really matter, right? Because it was overdubbed. But they went back into the studio, they said, and fixed, you know, edited it. And shot some scenes too, because they're you know, they're actually musicians. They play the piano. They play, you know, they wrote all the songs, and so, and you can tell too, and you know, it comes through in the movie. They're enjoying playing these songs, and they're pretty damn good too. You know, the music. That's another thing to mention, is the music is great in this too. I mean, it's a spoof and it's a satire, but Big Bottom, I just got to watch out. You know, when I was watching this movie so much, it starts, you know, humming it or singing it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You don't want to get your wife pissed off or something.
She's got a big bottom. How could I leave that behind?
Yeah, the lyrics are something else, man. Too much. Too much.
The lyrics
I can think of
very
why they were
toxic,
trying to do
man.
Fat Bottom Girls, right?
Yeah, Fat Bottom Girls.
Much.
The guy, Tony Hendra, who plays Ian Faith, their producer, I always thought it was funny because he looks so much like Miles Copeland. He was a producer in the music industry, including with his brother Stuart with the band The Police. And he really, in fact, when I first saw this, I thought that's who that was Miles Copeland.
Dude, look at this here. D-Bud can say he went to a show and he was right next to, dude, that is bad ass. And Brian asked, why does every band sound talk like? Well, that's what they were rolling with. That a lot of the bands also too at the time, they're big bands, particularly your Priests, your Sabbaths, your Saxons of the world. A lot of them were British bands, so they're capturing an era, particularly is where I'm seeing it from. Unless any of the guys got
Mrs. Blue, that's Fran Dresser. Yep, that's her. Yep.
And they also thought that it was more fun one of the guys was going to have a southern accent, and they just ended up thinking it was just more fun to have all British accents, and they wanted to do an accent for the roles. They thought it added something. So And the British invasion, right? I mean, it
Yep.
works.
And I'm glad. And once again, as repeating from earlier, like it's great that they pulled it off, because Brits are usually good at doing the American voices, but usually the other way around is usually not so good. And you can look up to us guys for a very good example of us earlier when we started the show. We were just like all doing it, and yeah, obviously it's all terrible. We all sound like shit trying to do it, but these guys nailed it. Like, I mean, even with it being a mockumentary, it is very believable, despite the fucking poof there. Oh, this is where that crazy. It's like, yeah, they're like that album.
They're arguing about the album cover.
What's wrong with being sexy?
What's wrong with being sexy?
There's no sexist.
No, sexist, not sexy. Yep.
What's sexist?
That's a fine line between clever and stupid. So yeah.
I love that line.
Yeah, that's one of the best lines. I always use that line. Yeah. But yeah, Drescher's great in this. Yeah, so the whole cast works in this, and yeah. Yeah.
But it is legit, like how much like the record covers would cause controversy. Like, I worked for a music company for a long time, and we would we were like a warehouse, and like albums would come down, and something would be off with the album cover. So we'd have to go in and open thousands of discs and change the inside.
Oh my
God!
I love
Like
the
there was
herpes.
one, it was like the Tommy Lee,
sores.
Tommyland.
What?
herpes
Really?
sores.
Yes, because like in Tommyland, the inside, because we dealt mainly with Walmart.
Yeah.
So the Tommyland album was like drawn boobies. There was boobies drawn on the inside of the album cover, and they had to send us all new album art that had drawn bikinis instead of boobies.
Wow.
So we had to go in and
crazy.
restuff those.
It reminds me of I know Dustin, you'll
Hey, Mark.
definitely understand this
Yep.
one.
Can you go back to the party scene with the close up of their lips?
Yep.
One of the issues with
This was right
covers-
at the beginning of the herpes outbreak in America.
Oh.
And they
Well,
were
there's a
right
whole
at the
deleted
top.
subplot that they all slept with the same groupie, and they all got herpes.
I know, it's so fucking funny though, the sores on their lips. And-
Yeah, one reporter asked them. They said, "Well, about the movie." He said, "Well, it's an interesting subplot that the two guys are gay," and he's like, "No, that's not the subplot. It's like you said, there was a
They're sleeping with
musician
the
they
same
were
groupie.
sleeping with, and well, it was a musician that was on tour with them and a band, and then
Yeah, it's in the I think it's in those deleted scenes you have, Mark,
Yeah,
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. Yeah.
and the drummer hasn't slept with her yet, so he's like, "But why? I think they're great. Why do you want to fire them?" You know, and he's the only one without a lips, herpes on his mouth. Yeah.
Another thing, and I want to capitalize off what Dustin said, and this is where one of my, I guess you could say, when I was seeing this from the very serious lenses, was the album covers, because obviously being a big fan of the band Cannibal Corpse in the early 90s in particular, they had a lot of very controversial album covers, and there was a lot of issues getting them into stores, and then they would have to do censored, uncensored covers. Then there's one where they did them in like one of those like kind of like those alcohol bags where they had to do stuff like that. So there's a lot of issues, and the same thing with a lot of bands who were like them. I mean, Slayer had issues too with their covers.
What was the one the
particularly
Beatles
Rain
got
and
in
Blood.
trouble for? Wasn't it Baby Parts?
That was the
something like
baby.
that?
Well, it was the doll cover or whatever, and they had to, and that's one where they
They
actually
reissued
went
it
in
with a
and
sticker on the cover.
sticker on the
photo,
cover, yeah. And so now, because everybody peeled that sticker off, if you have the version with the sticker,
Ooh.
it's actually worth more than the
Yes,
version without
is.
it.
Yes, it is. Because
Yep,
the
that one,
original
yeah.
picture was a butcher shop, right?
Yeah, it's the Butcher album. He's got it on screen now.
Yeah, right there. There it
Yeah.
is.
And that's
Because
this is the new
somebody
one.
found, because later on somebody went and found a box full of the ones before they even had the stickers. So there's like a good supply of the original cover
Yeah,
out
my
there. in
college
good
roommate
shape,
had
but yeah.
one of the original covers.
So now
the
the rarer cover is the sticker cover. So if you find
Right.
one that isn't peeling, that isn't peeled, been tried to be peeled, it's in really good shape. Those are worth more than the Butcher cover now in most cases.
Oh, we got armadillos on our trousers. It's really quite frightening.
Who here
And
has
that-
tried to use that line?
Never.
Right. That line is a great premonition for what follows later on at a certain airport. Oh, let's say that. That's a great.
Oh, this is where they're talking about how their audience is primarily boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because it scares the women. Yes. They're frightened.
Well, like almost like regular fandom. Oh yes.
What is this? What is this? See, you got a little guy here, and then look here, no little guy. And then
see, when I first saw this, I thought their road manager was just an inept, and later on in the movie, you find out he's not inept. He is babysitting children, man.
Yes.
And he's got too much.
He's wrangling cats. Here's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I can't. It's like it's over the bed, and I can't eat this.
Oh,
Well, what if you fold
Too
it?
much.
But if I fold it like this, and then it's folded, and I don't like that, and it's just.
Wow.
A total disaster.
Well, that kind of goes back to that whole
It
thing.
falls apart.
What you got, Dustin?
I was like, I forget which band it was, but it was the band that had the M&M and the rider, the specific color M&M.
That was Van Halen.
Van
that was
Halen.
just to make sure that they were actually reading the rider.
Yes, there was actually a good reason for that. It's in hindsight, because they came out later and said the reason is because they had too many incidences where they weren't adhering to the safety regulations.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had, like somebody get shocked or a fire that would get out of control or whatever would happen, something that wouldn't be done right. So to make sure they actually read the rider before they even took to the stage or did anything, if those green M&Ms weren't in their fucking dressing room when they showed up, it was like time out, show's not going on until everything is rechecked.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd be surprised at what could go wrong and how easy it could be to get hurt during one of these shows if things aren't grounded correctly. Like, there's been lots of musicians who have been killed just from grabbing a microphone that was hot and not grounded correctly. It's fucked up. So that's one of the reasons why it's understandable. I mean, of course, there are the idiots who just gotta have shit in a stupid way like this, but no, really, in the end, that's what it was for, was to make sure that the safety precautions were actually adhered to.
Because in the early 2000s, there was a website you could go, and it would like have, and I don't know exactly how legit it was because it was the beginning of the internet, but having wide access to the internet. But there was a website where you could go and look at all these different writers. You could see like Britney Spears' writer and Korn and all these bands and everything and all the shit that they wanted. Like they needed like a room with like white leather furniture and all this shit.
Such high maintenance is
well,
what
see, rock
I
bands
say.
I can see for like safety precautions, but like when it's an actor and shit, it's like, oh, fuck that prima donna. Like,
Oh, do that happens. There's
another new drummer.
Oh yeah, right.
living in a hellhole.
Oh man.
By the way, I remember something with Van Halen that cracked me up when they pranked what's his name, Alex. The entire band, because I went to see him on that tour, and they said, "Yeah, we're gonna shave our heads for the tour."
Oh god, yes.
And he's the only one that showed up with a shaved head.
Yes.
So he was bald when I went to see him in DC.
Fuck you guys.
Oh, that's
I'm like,
This is because where he can't get back up.
oh yes. Oh my god. He just keeps playing. Look at that face. I can't get up, Mike.
Oh damn.
And here comes the roadie. I'll help you.
I got you. All right, let's get to some quick direct donos. So one smash for the patriarchy times 2.
Smell the glove.
Smell the glove of infinity. Deleted scenes for $1.99 says Hail Nick, Panel, and Chat. Since like Spinal Tap, check out a movie called In God Spoke. It's top for movies. Thank you for the $1.99 and Joe's Atmosphere for $1. Need to punch this up to 11. Thank you, Joe's Atmosphere, even though you're on the show. I do appreciate your time and hanging out. And yes, Mrs. Fu, I await the package from Chernobyl. Thank you. All right, let us continue on with the show. And look at that face. Oh, man. 70s, you alive?
I'm listening.
All right.
Well, this is what I was asking you before 70s, before we, the whole thing got erupted. like him wearing like all the spandex in the 80s style. Like that to me feels like, yeah.
The new wave of British heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden would also wear some of that gear. So
in the makeup and all that shit.
Dickinson wearing pants like that, the red pants, and a bit of the makeup, yeah. So the older bands adapted a bit, but it's still and you've got Queen as well, bands like that they were.
Well, yeah, Freddie always
making
did,
fun of, yeah.
But I definitely see the influence on David with Queen. Like he feels like he's dressed a lot like what's his face? I just lost his name.
Brian May.
Brian May, yes.
Yeah.
There's a mixture of those things, but it's very much a British mid to late 70s heavy metal rock thing. I don't think the glam. I don't think the hair metal bands come into this that much.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah, I got more of a Led Zeppelin vibe out of them.
There's the elements of that.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I could smell that guitar. Just look
the
at
sustain on
but
this
don't look
is
at
quite unbelievable.
Don't look at it.
Oh, you can go have a sandwich and come back and still be going, oh, so you can hear that.
And guest collects guitars and
I'm not hearing anything.
This is my brother. This
You
is my
would,
brother
though.
right here. Yeah.
You would though if it was playing.
Man, them drugs. Man, the 80s were special. I
Don't even look at it.
This is probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie when he's going through all the guitars. It's like this can
that's
never
how
be played.
guitar collectors are. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's not much of a parody. It's really
that's
Christ,
That's
man.
why it hits close to home, Gerry, because I have a buddy of mine who literally has 27 guitars.
His radio pickup.
And he kind of
Oh my
acts
God.
similar to this guy with the way he sees or well,
I actually have a
dare I say
guitar a lot
smells
like that. I have a
guitars.
Black Beauty replica that looks a lot like that actually.
Don't look at it.
It can't even be it can never be played.
Yeah, an old friend of mine, Mike Chafin, I played for his band a few times back in the 80s.
See, it's still got the old tiger on it.
And he owned the local record store in Fredericksburg where I grew up called Apple Music. And there were actually signs in there on certain guitars, do not touch this. But my favorite one is like, there would be cards hanging that said, do not play these songs or you'll be kicked from store.
Stairway to Heaven.
Well, that's the
Stairway to Heaven was one of
joke.
the main
Yeah.
ones. If we hear
Smoke
you
on the
playing this,
Water.
No
you're
stairway denied.
Yeah, people were banned from the store if they did that shit.
Yeah,
What if Jimmy Page tried to do it? What would they do? I'd love to see that.
Lord.
Yeah,
Like
Jimmy Page came in. It's like,
Record
okay,
store.
take
Dude,
the
really?
card down.
Here's our infamous line,
Wait for it.
Most
Wait for it.
amps, they go up to 10.
11.
Most amps go up to 10, Does that mean it's louder? Like, is it any louder?
Why don't you just make 10 loudest and then make just
Why don't
10?
you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder? These go to 11.
This goes to 11.
Greatest line of the
movie. That line is seriously.
But
when we need that extra oomph. Yeah.
It just says everything you need to know about Nigel and these guys, right? Like they're just no, it doesn't matter. These go to 11. See, that's all that matters. They're just totally oblivious. They're like Beavis and Butthead if they had a band.
Oh, well stated. Well stated. Damn.
By the way, Tom, just to let you know, I got Anima to watch Beavis and Butthead for the first time ever tonight. She doesn't understand why you and I love it at all. She's like,
it takes some time to get into it.
So stupid.
Which episodes did you watch?
The latest two.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to be kind of up to yeah.
You need to watch the near beer one where they think they're getting drunk.
Yeah, you got to start with some earlier episodes. Yeah.
Oh, you
then
go
get
back
into
to classic.
Then you get into the newer ones. Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead do the universe. It's a freaking awesome
hilarious.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the movie's a good place to
date
start
night.
too. But...
Thank you. That's date night for her and me. I'm gonna make her watch that movie with me.
There you go.
There it is.
Fucking.
It goes to 11.
Well, it's one louder.
She's getting mad
it?
at me now.
Louder.
She's writing me in private.
And now don't they make amps to go to 20 and and all kinds of jokes and stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
well, that was the whole thing. Is they were the loudest band in the world at the time, or whatever they claim.
Yeah.
And then Motorhead came and said everything louder than everything else. Thank you, Lemmy.
God, when I saw Deep Purple, my ears rang for days. I mean, they were known as being one of the loudest bands too, and I was like, I didn't wear ear protection back then. It's like, what's that? Oh my God, your ears hurt. I mean,
I need that extra push over the cliff.
Oh, dude, no, that was my experience. I remember my first show, March 11th, 2005. I saw Slipknot at the Allstate Arena, and their opener was Lamb of God. And I remember I was 17. I thought I was actually gonna go deaf. I actually thought I was gonna be deaf. I'm like, how did my first show happen?
You'd be surprised how loud 3 guys from Texas can be in an open air Cotton Bowl.
Well,
I saw in '91. I saw ZZ Top headline the Summer Music Festival. And, oh my God, I was shocked at how loud those guys were. It was ridiculous.
I'm just as God made me, sir.
Right?
Just as an anecdote I want to throw in, one night I was playing with my band back in, I think it was 85, 86, and we were taking a break in the bar, and I went up to the bar to get a beer, and this lady walks up to me and she says, "Could you play your drums a little quieter?" What? And I turned and looked at her. I laughed. I actually laughed, went, "No." And I just walked away from her.
Just go to 11.
It's a percussion instrument. No.
Here's the sandwich.
And then it's this, and I don't want this. I want large bread so that I can put this.
Right.
So then it's like this. But this doesn't work because then it's all...
Because it hangs out like that.
It does disturb me, but I rise above it. I'm a professional.
Would you eat this?
Oh,
I
rise it above it. I'm a professional.
I love the manager, the way he just gets right into the discussion with him. And as you get to understand his character through the film, it's like you said, it's like a guy trying to herd cats. He's really good at what he does.
He's the only one who knows how to handle them.
Yes. And his character is subtly brilliant.
He is that guy, right? Like, I mean, there's usually, that's the way it works with a lot of these bands. There's always just that one guy who can manage the band. Beatles had the same problem when they lost Brian Epstein. They were lost. Yep. You know, I mean, they even tried going with the Stones guy, and that didn't work out for him. And that who he's isn't that who Ethan Hawke is based on anyway? Yeah.
He was a crook.
If they brought the cannons, they were really loud, no doubt.
I somehow have never seen AC/DC. I will have liked
me either.
I would like to say I even like their newer stuff. It's a shame that they never play it.
I think they had the title for a while as the loudest band when they did that one album. I can't remember if it was Big Guns or not, or Ball Breaker or
Are you talking about LA Guns?
It was probably those about the rock. That's the one with the cannons in it.
Could have been, but I thought it was one of the newer ones, but
it's
that is a Brian Johnson one, right?
Tom and Nick, and also 70s. You will enjoy this response.
I'm listening.
Someone asked me one time, "What are your favorite rock bands?" I said, "Rock, like in hard rock." And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Number one, clearly AC/DC." And they went, "Oh my God, what are your favorite albums?" I said, "Back in Black." And they said, "Have you ever listened to Fly on the Wall?" And they're like, I was like, "No." Back in Black is the greatest rock album ever made. I didn't have to buy any more albums because they were just trying to replicate what they did on that one album. It is a perfect album. It's a perfect album.
They did some pretty good shit after that.
This confounds so many rockers when I say this. Every other album was trying to replicate what they did on that one album.
I agree. But I love what they did after, even up to.
A lot of people do. That's the album for me.
Like Black Ice.
Well, there's
even
Johnny
Black
Fever.
Ice.
What's up, Johnny Fever?
I even like a lot of the Bon Scott days stuff.
I do too.
I have more of those albums than I do the latter albums. Actually.
Oh, really? You like it better?
Love it. Yes.
That's interesting.
I just like the way he sang. Man.
As far as the writing goes, Joe, you're right, 100%. Like. It is night and day, and you can tell, and that's probably why you like Back in Black, Gary, so much, and the rest of the stuff after that just isn't as good
just
because
not as good to me.
Back in Black was written still when they had Bon. Have you ever heard his version of Back in Black?
I've never heard that.
Much rockier, and the voice is a little different.
Where can I find it? Is it
Well,
on
I'm sure it's
YouTube?
on YouTube by now, but yeah, just type in Bon Scott Back in Black.
I'm going to do it right
But
now.
Gary, you are right. That's one of those perfect albums where they could have
There's
released
not one
anything
song.
on it and it would have been a top 10 hit.
Yeah, not one
I
bad
agree.
song.
Which is funny
It's a
because I don't think any of those
perfect album.
songs managed to crack the top 10. But
They
yeah,
didn't. They didn't. But I mean,
The irony.
anybody that's into rock and roll knows about that album. and
There's
loves
not
it.
one bad song on that album.
No,
well, yeah,
there's
that's the
not
thing.
one.
And Shook Me All Night Long, I think, has been played more than most number one top 40 hits of that time anyway on radio
Okay.
stations by now.
Yep.
I got something to say about that song. I like it, but there's one song I could go without hearing for the rest of my life from that album. It's that one.
Shook Me All Night Long.
I say that.
agree.
I say that from a position of love because I could say the same thing with Judas Priest with Breaking the Law. If I could go the rest of my life without hearing that song, I'd be okay with that. I love that song, but guys, if you could just retire that out of the set list, that would be great. You could play some nice deep cut. A deep cut would be great. You know, just saying. Like,
Wouldn't that be funny if we could retire bands? Like when they hit that perfect album, yeah, you're not allowed to release
Hey,
any
you
more.
can't release anything else.
Sit
What
down.
I think Nick is
We'll
talking
never
about
do
is,
anything better than this.
and I know 70s, I don't know if what kind of stations you guys have around there, but like I'm sure you can relate to this doing the music you do with your radio station and stuff. Like you hit a certain point where now that the oldies stations are playing the shit that we grew up with, they only play the one or two popular songs. They don't play anything else.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. Like, because I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan and stuff like that. They have played The Wall nonstop like 5 times a day on some of these oldie stations to the point where if I hear The Wall ever
Play
again,
the same 4 records in every station.
same
every
thing
FM
with.
station.
I can't even believe I got to a point where I couldn't stand hearing fucking "Don't Fear the Reaper" again. I'm like, if I hear that song again anytime soon, I could fucking throw up.
I'd rather listen to Godzilla.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Joe.
I mean, come on, man. Play
Well,
something else.
that's why so many of
A
us
band-
make our own playlists so we don't listen to radio.
Gary, let
anymore.
70s finish. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
No, what were you saying, 70s?
I think it was mentioned
A
Billy
band
Joel.
like AC/DC has made, I don't know, 30 albums. They've got hundreds of songs. You only ever hear 4 songs on the radio.
Yeah.
It's dumb, especially when you've got guys that are so talented. Their B-sides are better than half the music out there.
Soundgarden, everyone unnecessarily judges them for Black Hole Sun, but you listen to the rest of Bad Motorfinger, blows that song out of the water.
I
It's
did not
even
know that
close.
Chris Cornell had so much work in movies, man.
Oh,
until I started doing Mead Radio. I'm like, holy shit, I did not realize
Even
how many
James
movies
That's
Bond.
these
one of the
songs
best
were.
lines in the movie.
Thank you, 70s.
I love when they show what he's carrying
wooden
around the
stick.
cricket bat for.
That's awesome.
Have a good salt piece.
But to go with what you're saying there, Tom, is like certain songs, man. It annoys me that popular radio only plays a handful of songs by a lot of the greatest bands.
Well, it's like
And
if
so
I ever
people
hear fucking Sweet Child of Mine again, I'll throw up too.
Oh yeah, I can't stand that song.
Or Paradise City for that matter. Like those two songs are constantly. It's like, can't you play Welcome to the Jungle? You know, Night Train, anything else? Come on.
Mr. Brownstone, something. Give me something.
Now, Brownstone I'd like.
I had to chaperone some high school kids to go see AC/DC, and they're playing a lot of the older songs. The kid had no idea, and then they're playing the Jack, which is like they're playing the riff.
Oh,
and then
good song.
You answer the
Oh,
Jack,
God,
and
yeah.
you sing along back with the song, and no one in the freaking stadium knew it. It was like they only knew the new stuff. It's and today
That's
kids don't
too
even
bad.
listen to the whole record too.
Well, that's
So
what I mean,
You miss
like,
out
there's-
on so much.
Look at like if I say Problem Child, like look at like Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. You got Dirty Deeds, Problem Child, a couple of these other songs. They sound nothing like the other songs, right? And then you jump to like you got Big Balls and some of these other songs that sound nothing like any of the other songs. But then after a point, you're right. Like you get AC/DC, they knew the formula, they stuck with it, and I can't blame them for that, right? Doesn't matter. Regardless, Gary's not wrong. I can't argue with him. Like, there's nothing about like Big Guns or Ball Breaker or any of the other albums that they've done after, even Fly on the Wall and a few of the others that were, even remotely much different than Back in Black. Hell, even Who Made Who is half of Back in Black.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And I got to tell you, Back in Black is my 11 when it comes to rock albums. I'm like, it's 11. You can't go any
Everybody's
better.
got one. You guys are going to laugh at mine. Mine's Billy Squires. Don't Say No.
Oh, that's
I
a good
mean,
one.
That's a
though.
good album.
That's not a,
No, it's
no.
Another one that you could release any song on.
Squire is
It would've been a hit.
underappreciated when it comes to rockers.
They
Big
fucked
time.
up. He fucked up.
That video.
And with the video, with the pink, and shit. And I thought that was such a stupid way to fizzle out because he was a fucking rocker, dude.
Dude, if you see him live, you know that the stuff you listen to on the radio is just half of the show. I mean, my God, that guy blows the doors off of it.
Oh,
live.
man. I bought his albums. I was just so fucking blown away by how rocker he was. And then he does that one video and ruins his career.
He still does my favorite Christmas song, though.
Oh, which
Christmas is the time to say I love.
Yeah, my 11 album. Awesome. Probably either I've got a weird cut as far as a Motorhead album. I probably choose Motorhead Sacrifice, or I choose Slayer Rain and Blood. I mean, when I put as soon as I hear the opening notes of Angel of Death.
If it's got to be a rock album.
No, if it's a traditional rock album, classic. I mean, ooh.
Well, like love the Paisley in this. Love the Paisley in this.
I'll go Dark Side of the Moon. I actually love Dark Side.
That was the thing is I was going to pick a Pink Floyd, but I didn't think they were hard enough.
I'm standing by them because
depends on what you're using when you listen to it.
Yeah, well, Dark Side of the Moon is the easy answer. I'd actually go with Wish You Were Here. A lot of people overlook
Wish
that
You Were
one.
Here is one of my favorite
From
albums.
beginning to end is a banging fucking out. Like well, of course, every Pink Floyd is, but like people forget how many great songs are on that one too.
Wish You Were Here is my favorite song by them.
Favorite line from that album is from that song, which is
you got
from a walk-on part in the war to a lead role in a cage. One of the greatest lines in the song.
And not only that, you got Shine On, You Crazy Diamond, all those parts, and then you got
Shine On.
People forget how
the backing vocals, those
grungy of a song that
Magumba.
Well,
Peter James Bond.
I just
If we had all you guys tied up, that probably would have been fine. But it's still a stupid.
It's such a fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah,
It's just a little turnabout.
Just a fine line.
This is something.
Have a Cigar. Have a Cigar is such a great fucking song that people forget. Is on that album. If you haven't heard that song, do yourself a fucking favor. But my 11, I didn't pick my 11. My actual 11 would probably be Queen News of the World.
Okay. Queen News of the World.
Good
okay. Ooh,
is Fat Bottom Girls on that one? I think it is.
No, but it's got We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was after that. Yeah.
And because I like the way that the two songs go together because they actually.
Well, it's got a lot of great songs on there. It's Sheer Heart Attack, I think, is on there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Go for it, 70s.
I don't know if it's easy to. I don't know. It's hard to pick one.
I'd
probably pick the Who Live at Leeds deluxe version, the full concert. Not the released 1970 version, but the full concert, which was released much later. That's probably the top one.
Boy, I gotta tell you though, like
if I was to pick an AC/DC album, I'd pick Highway to Hell.
Ooh, there you go.
That's good album.
But
isn't that Bon Scott's last one?
It was, yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say I thought so.
Is TNT on that one? 70s?
What did you think of Tommy?
No.
70s?
Okay.
No.
Sorry?
That's my favorite song by him.
What did you think of Tommy?
Oh, I love Tommy, but Live at Leeds is the ultimate Who album. The full deluxe edition. It's just that's the greatest.
Well, the thing I
album
like
ever
about
made.
Tommy is there's not one bad song on that. The rock opera that Pete Townsend wrote.
Yeah, Tommy's is a very different beast because it's not particularly a heavy album.
It's not.
If you listen to it, it's extremely acoustic in many places. It's very sensitive and melodic.
Borderline punk on a couple of the songs too.
Yeah, but because they ran out of time and money after spending a year making it, so Pete didn't put all of the electric guitar in it they intended, and they had to release it as it was. But that actually makes it nice when you're listening to it. It's not all heavy. You can hear all the different melodic elements that he built into it. So.
The Broadway show was phenomenal too.
Yeah, I've seen the Broadway show too.
Yeah.
So
it was.
I think the AC/DC album you're thinking of would be High Voltage. I think
the one Highway to Hell is my favorite of theirs.
Yeah, no, I mean TNT. I think is on High Voltage. Is my.
Oh, is it okay? I knew it was a Bon Scott one. It's just I couldn't remember.
I was going to say that hey, Clobby, the Who I think too is one of those great concert bands too. As much as their albums are great, but they're just another adultery.
That's why Live at Leeds is the best.
The Who,
it's
Queen,
so phenomenal.
There's a few of those bands, and well, of course, Pink Floyd was always well known for their live shows as well. This is great. It's like, how much more black could it be? None more.
None. Look, it's shiny.
Black Mirror.
Honey, you can see yourself in it.
It's fucking depressing. That's what it is.
That sells, but death, it sells.
All the movies in the cinemas right now, they're all about death.
Hey,
This
70s. I'm curious, when Pete Townsend went off and did, what was it, White City, I think it was called? White City.
White City, yeah.
I thought that was a brilliant album. What did you think of it? Oh, God.
I love Pete's solo stuff.
I got to tell you, White City blew my mind, and I bought the book that went with it that he wrote.
Yeah.
What a great one.
And for those who are curious, yes, Metallica stole the idea from Spinal Tap.
Yeah,
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Empty Glass is a great Pete Townsend album. The earlier solo one he did in the late 70s is a brilliant album.
All I know is my favorite Pete Townsend song is Eminence Front. I was big into Miami Vice when they used that on the show, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Oh, that's an undersung Who song.
Oh, guys, Eminence Front's one of my 5 favorite Who songs.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The fact that they're
oh my God, when he can't get out.
Well, this is what I was said earlier. They had to plan the set pieces. This was clearly a planned set piece. This is what
funny.
Too
funny.
Yeah, so just go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was gonna say the way they filmed this, I just found this out watching the director's cut today. Was there's actually guys lying down under those platforms who are just opening and closing those pods. So they said one of the challenges where they couldn't try to open Smalls' pod that much because the guy below was like struggling to keep it closed. They're underneath there the whole time. There's no mechanic, because it's low budget too, right? They're not going to make a motor to open these fucking things. So
and this is the same roadie we see the whole show. He's
credited
at
the he's credited at the end. Yeah, that's the roadie's credit. He's the last credit on the.
I love you just sitting there unplugging shit. Then he's got a hammer and fucking trying.
Grabs a propane torch and
yeah.
Yeah, well, like you see Dio, like you remember going to see Dio and like Last in Line, he had like that huge dragon in the background, like there's some incredible props that some of these heavy metal people would have. So I could see if something went wrong like that, or
and they have.
And
That's
they have,
thing,
unfortunately.
Mark. I want to capitalize off of that because I knew you were onto something good. Because it just once again, this is where the stuff of where I could see why musicians relate to this because things go wrong at live shows almost all the time. I have been on the stage before. I've played to people myself, and things go wrong all the time. And this is just goes to show you, even when you got the big production and money to spend, like every time something can just happen at any given moment. And obviously it's funny for the movie, but
not only that, I think part of the joke is they're having their budget and shit all cut to shit anyway.
Oh yeah, but bands relate to this in that sense.
This is one of those ones where the bands. Yeah, when bands would talk to him afterwards, they'd always come up to him. Oh yeah, that shit happened to me.
Right.
Yep. Or the worst is, God forbid, some of the fires that they had. That fire.
Lord,
with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What city was that in? Where they had the pyrotechnics?
Providence, I think it was Providence, Rhode Island.
Because that was that Motley Crue or was it
fire exits?
Great White.
Great White. That's who it was. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Here's where's the propane torch he's got.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was pretty film. That it's like, my God.
Well, and then of course Stonehenge is famously loosely based on the Pink Floyd pig getting away.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows that story, but
concerts, that they finally got like this giant pig that runs on a wire and flies from the.
Well, when they did the animal tours, I think they even snapped some shots for the album, if I'm not mistaken. Like
here's what it gets out as they go in.
As they go in.
That's the joke, of course, but yeah. Then he has to go right back in, and it won't close.
And his arm's stuck. He's like, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
He didn't miss a beat, man. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
I love this too. Is like the law of averages says I will survive,
and he doesn't.
It's too funny, man.
Well, which is sad because I think we just actually lost this actor recently. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, really?
Oh, do we really?
No, you look at the history of what happened to drummers. I mean, the first guy to go in Led Zeppelin was Bonham. You know, Def Leppard's drummer lost his arm in a friggin' car wreck. They had to basically invent new drums for him, right?
Wasn't what's his face from the Beach Boys the drummer too that they lost? I can't remember now.
So.
Pete Best.
I think so.
Or not Pete Best.
And the first person to leave a band is always the damn drummer, man. Yeah, Pete Best.
Keith
who's
Moon.
the guy that wore the cat makeup in
Peter Criss.
Pete Best isn't dead.
Peter
of course.
Criss is still alive, but
Pete Best is still alive.
Pete Best is still alive. Yeah,
they're always the first one to leave a band too.
Well, but I think you're mistaking. Eric Carr died though. He sadly died the same day that Freddie Mercury did, and that's why most people don't remember it.
No, what I meant was they're always.
But he was their
first one to
drummer as
leave,
well.
like
Yeah,
Pete Best and the guy that I don't know why I'm having a senior moment on his name, but the guy from Kiss. Yeah.
Well, Keith Moon is also the other one I was thinking of too.
Yeah, that's what I said a minute ago. Was Keith?
Yeah,
Moon.
you did, Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, he first he drove over his own chauffeur when he was panicked. He jumped in the driver's seat when his driver jumped out to move the crowd, and then he drove over him, and then he drove one of his cars into a swimming pool, and he was just doomed, man. Keith Moon was just on a fucking disaster schedule that was leading to death.
I love this whole like motif that she comes up with, because speaking of Kiss, because it seems to be like it's really making fun of their whole.
It is
like
the crab makeup for Harry Shearer and too much, man, too funny.
Oh. Did anybody ever see the movie Almost Famous?
Yes.
There was because they had an extended cut,
of course,
unrated version called just unrated or
bootleg cut or whatever.
Yeah, that was so good because I mean it was kind of like a serious, like to me it was kind of like a serious version of this movie because all the bad shit that happened to a touring band happened to them on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
so
you do realize that Almost Famous is loosely based on an actual story or like a true story.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When he got hired by Rolling Stone.
It's Cameron Crowe. Yeah, Cameron Crowe, and it's based on his touring with Led Zeppelin and the Eagles,
which ironically is the period of time when what's his name from Fear and Loathing in Los
Johnny Depp.
No, the real guy. The real guy.
He
said that Rolling Stone died when they hired Cameron Crowe. And
I don't agree with that, but like it did die somewhere around. There's probably a specific point you could pinpoint, but like,
well, he said it was when corporate that the first company that bought into Rolling Stone, it was right around 78, said when that took place, Rolling Stone changed. And it was no longer about the music. It was about
muck piece. It's a muck piece.
It's a muck piece.
It's a muck piece.
It's the saddest key, D minor.
It's pretty. Yeah, I like it.
What do you call it?
Just been fooling about with it for a few months now. Simple lines, intertwining. You know, very much like I'm really influenced by Mozart and Bach, and it's sort of in between though. It's like a Mach piece, really.
What do you call this?
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
Lick My Love Pump.
Oh, here it is. The cucumber.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of deleted scenes, now this is the other big chunk of, I think, Mark, that's in that bunch that you have on that Criterion that's on the Blu-ray too, where the whole story about they say that his bulge isn't big enough. So they're the ones who made him do this in the first place. That's why he's so pissy here.
Yeah, and there's a joke when they get lost going to the stage, like Mr. Shrimpton. So they're making fun of him too. Like there's an offhanded joke.
Yeah.
Because they're saying he's not presenting well enough up front. You know?
And then my other favorite bit that's in the deleted scenes that are on the disc is when they're at the zoo and they're talking about the monkeys and they're like, they're a bread making culture. Yes. And they've figured out how to make soup. and they can talk. Wow. Well, they can't talk sentences, but they figured out how to form words like yes, please, and more, and thank you.
Wow.
It's too much, man.
They're quite intelligent.
She's
yes,
cute.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
yeah,
cute.
she is pretty cute. Yeah,
they changed the actress in the scene. Yeah, they thought
and look, she's strong and she's a cop.
There's two black lady cops there.
Yeah.
Oh, the other actor they changed too was fine. You know the scene with a guy from WKRP, Johnny
Yeah.
The rock guy was supposed to be playing, as a rock star, but when he showed up, he couldn't talk. He just couldn't ad-lib at all. So they flipped it around and they called the guy from WK. I'm drawing a blank.
Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman. Thank you. So they called him like, can Howard get here in 8 hours? We need to film the scene again.
Are a bunch more of his
manager.
Is there more of his scenes in the deleted scenes? Because if not, I know he's a lot more in the 4.5 hour version. Well,
yeah, he's in it more, but yeah, he's just a little bit more, not a lot.
Yeah.
But they flew him in to because the other guy that couldn't ad lib, they said he looked perfect and but just couldn't handle it. So, and of course he's not in it that much. But that's another fantastic line. Like, you want to hang? He's like, we can't hang around here. We just have to go sit around and wait for the limo up front. It's like a total insult. And then the guys are like, what a poofta, what a jerk. Yeah. So the line, all the jokes and lines in this movie are just, if you're paying attention, you're getting them, and there's some great digs there.
And I think there's more
to catch everything. You've got to watch it.
Oh God, yes.
No
well,
doubt.
not only that, I don't remember if it's all in the deleted or extra stuff, but with him, but Howard Hessman's like the other part. If you're paying attention, is they're taking all the places that Spinal Tap is supposed to be playing or whatever and stuff too, like all the big stadiums and shit. Yeah,
they get canceled. Yeah.
When they get canceled, yeah.
There's another drummer.
Yeah,
new drummer.
Man,
unless that's the one that just died. I don't remember which one, but one of the actors from this just passed away. Yeah,
they just have all the luck. They get their shows canceled. They get no one attending to their autographs. They go through drummers. Man,
the guy that was on Break Like the Wind died this year. Rick Parnell, I think is his name.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's him. I don't think that's him.
Okay, I don't know. So
that's a real drummer.
The
real drummer that drummed the real album. Yeah.
I love the keyboard player too. He doesn't really get a lot of lines, but I love at the end. There's like, "What's your philosophy in life?" My philosophy is have a good time all
the time. Yeah, that's Viv Savage. Is it Viv Savage.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He was allegedly killed when he went to visit the grave of former drummer Mick Shrimpton, whose grave exploded due to methane gas buildup. Because I've got a list of all these on the web of all the deaths. See, that looks like Ozzy, that face. That's an Ozzy face.
Well, he had the hair that Ozzy had right around that time.
Yeah, right? He does look a lot like Ozzy in this bit here, yeah.
That's the weird hair Ozzy had. Because Ozzy, between his weird outfits and his weird hair, because before, a lot of people obviously know him now for having black hair.
Well, how big was Lemmy at this point? Because Harry looks a lot like Lemmy here with the whole mutton chops and all that shit. Yeah.
Overkill had already been out, and then you had the Ace of Spades on the album Motorhead as well. So
I wasn't sure if Ace of Spades was out yet. Yeah, okay.
There was a handful of albums out at that point in time. I can't remember specifically.
The Company of the Wiz and Spinal Tap.
Tap. It's too good.
Hey, the Wiz is good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Overkill and Ace of Spades both were yeah. Okay, so I was right. I knew Ace was, but I didn't know about Overkill. But yeah, so they are very well established by this point.
What is this guy's name?
Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer. I could not remember his
Canadian.
name.
World's most dangerous band.
Just kick my ass.
Leader, right?
Do me a favor, kick my ass for me, will you?
He was Letterman's band leader, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was also one of the members of the Blues Brothers that got left out because of other obligations at the time they did the movie.
Really?
Yeah, he's on all the record album, I believe, and all that stuff. But yeah,
that's not surprising. He's a good musician, man.
Yeah. He showed up in the second film at least, but yeah.
Kind of sort of sequel.
The one we don't like to talk about, yeah.
We don't want to
talk. Nah, and we don't need to. We talk about this is Spinal Tap and that's it. Fuck that.
Have you done Blues Brothers on Toxic though?
We have not, but
that would be a good one
on your list.
It will happen. It is on the list. It is. And I'm not saying that just to say that. It will happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come. I promise.
Is it now?
Dustin, I'm a man of my word. I'll make sure it does.
Oh my
Why
God.
you're not just shooting smoke?
I love this.
This is just too much, man.
The signing, and you know what? another once again, another one of those scenes. I've heard stories from bands, especially before they blew up, where they go to signings and they had some guy, big honcho, promoting them, or sometimes not even promoting, and people don't show. I've even been to signings where a lot of people don't show them. Obviously, for me, that experience is great, but it can definitely look depressing for some bands. Some bands, can blow it over, and they can see as, okay, the 5 people who are here, it can be definitely a lot more intimate of a actual conversation or a quick hi, move past the line. I've done so many signings, so this scene definitely resonates once again as well for me. But this is the part where he says about getting his ass kicked, of course, right here.
He's got the Spinal Tap shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like, I have to assume, I've never been in a band, but I have to assume there's always one chick that messes it up for everybody too, right?
Well, they have their Yoko in this movie here too. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Now, as far as my experience, I can say I'm very lucky that I've never seen it as far as bands I've been in, but I've seen it as far as friends bands I've had. Oh, I've seen it so many
I was
times.
fixing to say, because I got a friend
lucky.
in Tulsa that's used to sing in a metal band, and it was a girl that busted his band up. Yeah.
Okay, so this is where they get lost on their way to the stage, right?
Yeah.
Coming up, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where we were in the movie now. Like, I've seen this movie so many times in different orders that
I was crying the first time I saw the scene because they were like, they're all ready to go. They're all like, yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah, they're so uppity. And all of a sudden they see the guy who they just saw a minute later.
You go down here to the left and you take a little shimmy to the right.
Then the next 2 rights.
Yes. And then you'll see a door that says no access. Go through that door.
Well, you've got access. You got guitars.
You the band, right?
Truer words have never been spoken. Being the drummer for Spinal Tap is the most dangerous job in the world.
This was another one that when bands would talk to them, they're like, this happened all the time. Getting lost on the way to the stage.
Can you imagine trying to your first time playing Madison Square Garden, and you're probably going through a hike.
Yeah, like one of those huge stadiums or something like that. Where you're
the bigger the venue, I'm sure it's easier to get lost. Yeah,
I can imagine.
There he is.
The first time.
You go straight through
this is the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, first time.
Usually they have stage hands pointing you in the wreck, and they have people with the flashlights and getting you all set up and ready to go. But
Well, I think that's the other kind of joke is that they don't have shit for a crew left anymore either. We got to remember this is a band on the cusp of dying that never was. That's the whole joke.
Yeah.
But no, they just have hey, Tom, you're putting a spin on it. It's just they have a more selective crowd.
Selective audience. They were politicians before the modern politicians. That's alternative facts.
Oh, damn. Well said, sir. No, but for real, come on, it's the fact that hello, Cleveland.
Cleveland. He's ready. He's ready to go.
He's so ready that he doesn't even know how to get.
He must have made a wrong turn. We got to go the other way.
Oh man.
You're going the wrong way.
He's drunk. How the hell does he know where we're going?
That's another movie we got to do.
I know, right? They're right around Thanksgiving because that's
yeah.
And then you'll have a bunch of men weeping at the end. But yeah,
I cried at the end of that movie. Yeah,
which one is
like me?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh my God, yeah.
Del Griffith.
Yeah.
I sell shower curtain rings.
How about Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid? How about
that's
that?
Another one good one too.
I've actually not seen that one.
Really? It's great, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Maybe if it was done in Dublin.
And that's another line I always use, and no one gets that line. I always say, you want to watch the movie?
See, Mark, you and I would get along because I quote this movie on the daily. I'm not even fucking kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do it in Dublin.
Yeah, like 70s is saying, like, yeah, I'd use that.
She
this
means
great thing with you guys.
Dolby.
And then people look at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, in doubly.
You can do
And
it
they're like,
doubly.
what? I'm like, oh, forget it. If you don't get the joke, you know, go watch Spinal Tarp. Maybe you'll get it.
But guys, the hinges just gotta be 18 inches.
Here we go. Here we go. We're about to see the Kiss makeup. Yeah, man. Yeah, the bull.
He's Nigel. He's a Capricorn.
Right.
Is this a joke?
Is this a joke?
Is this a joke?
The crab. Yes, there you go.
That's attractive.
And of course, her boyfriend's the lion, right? The majestic lion, right?
Of course.
Do you know how much it's going to cost? Too funny, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is where they decide to do Stonehenge. Yeah.
Yes. This is where he gets he writes on the napkin because that was something we did way back in the day.
I think mine would look better if it was in doubly.
Doubly.
We wrote on napkins, kids. For any of the youngins in the chat, we wrote on napkins when we need to save a message. We couldn't just save it on our phone as a note. We wrote on napkins a lot, and he needed to do 18 inches for a Stonehenge, except that 18 inches got taken a little bit too literally.
He needed 18 feet, and he accidentally put inches in.
Yeah, he meant to do the one hash, but he did two.
Yeah. Goof.
I'm almost like it's almost good Toxic Man Flu is not here, because if he saw this Stonehenge right now, this would be his opportunity to or the Legion of Memers to use Comics Division at that scene with the Stonehenge.
Right.
But here's the question.
Comics would be the one
do Stonehenge?
getting squashed by Stonehenge, right?
No, we're not fucking
I'm
doing
gonna do
Stonehenge.
Stonehenge tonight. Like if a friend would say we want to do something, we're like, no one want to do it. Food King, we're not going to food. Someone would be like, no, we're not fucking doing Stonehenge tonight. We'd all burst out laughing. But you got to have people that know the movie. So,
by the way, Tom, I meant to ask, or anybody can answer this. Is wasn't the girlfriend the same actress that was in V?
For Vendetta?
No, V.
No, V, the miniseries.
I don't know. I'd have to
June
look.
Chadwick or June.
I will look and see.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd have to look.
Haunted moon, for fear that daybreak might
Oh my
come.
fucking God.
It's supposed to be the biggest moment of the show.
The look on his fucking
I
face.
love this. I love his crazy.
Haunted moon, for fear that daybreak might come.
There's
The
the
problem
roadie.
was we had
Do
a
it again.
Stonehenge on stage that was.
Do it again, dude. Do it again.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Haunted moon, for fear that daybreak might come.
in jeopardy of being squashed by a
wide
door.
open.
And then
This
the
is
manager
it.
reacts to it too.
What do you mean
He
this
thought-
is it?
the manager fucked up. He won't admit it. He doesn't admit it to the guys.
And then he tries to downplay it when the band confronts him. He's like, "Oh, it's fine. No, it's all a big deal."
Well, it's
Yeah, she was in V. She played Lydia in V.
Nigel
Yeah,
gave
sure
me the
did.
drawing
Okay.
that said 18 inches. Now, whether or not he knows the difference between feet and inches is not my problem. I do what I'm told. But
Typical
you're not as
man.
confused as him, are you? I mean, it's not your job to be as confused as Nigel.
Here's the thing: men have a big issue with telling the difference between inches and feet. Sometimes, okay?
Oh my God. Hilarious.
18 is 18, Tom, no matter how you
Yeah, yeah, it's a big number. It doesn't matter.
It's like
70s. Have you been
Roseanne
to
said
Stonehenge?
I have not ever been to Stonehenge. I've been to older sites than Stonehenge in the UK, but not Stonehenge.
But were
You
they
I believe
specified
they, I
18
believe
inches.
they
Were
do
they as
play
big?
this song on the summer solstice.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
At Stonehenge.
Forget
So I
the fucking
believe.
napkin.
I actually think that version works better than if it was big. More of a Lord of the Rings feel to it.
It's got better production values than the new Lord of the
It
Rings.
has
too.
better production than Rings of Power.
No one knows. what they were doing.
Yeah, before the dawn of history.
Where?
Been to Glastonbury, if that counts. It's pretty
I
near.
love the lyrics there. Before history. Before there was anyone.
Before the
Live the
dawn of
Druids.
time.
Yeah.
Ancient race of people, the Druids.
No one knows.
Except us.
Who they were or what they were doing.
How can you write a song about them then?
But their
If nobody
legacy
knows, how can their legacy remain?
Right?
Yeah.
Living in the
rock.
There's a thin
Stonehenge.
line between, idiocy and cleverness.
Stupidity and clever.
Yeah, there you go.
Clever and stupid. Yeah.
It's the lyrics of this song is that.
It's still a
It's
stupid
such a
cover.
fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah,
It's just like a little turnabout.
It's that
Mark.
turnabout.
That's the lyrics of this song.
Stonehenge, where the demons dwell. Where the
good
banshees live, and they do live well. Oh yeah, kicks
Can
ass.
no, seriously, can we be fair? Like, this song straight up has
It
a
does
good
straight up
groove.
kick
It's
ass.
Good.
catchy. It sticks in your head. You could be in your car, like, bopping on the steering wheel. Like,
The
it's so
children dance.
impetuous.
It could
To the
almost have been
pipes
like,
of pie.
it could almost have been a Jethro Tull song.
Pretty
Right?
much.
Oh my God.
And you,
In their heavier
my
moments.
love, won't you take my hand?
Oh, back.
It's probably my favorite song on the soundtrack.
Ah.
Yeah,
Between
it is a
this
very
and
tall-
Money.
very tall, yeah, with the story.
See, the best thing about parodies is the songs, if you make it really good, they have to sound right. You can't just put any
Well,
old
yeah.
shit out.
No.
Like the Ruttles stuff sounded brilliant, sounded just like the Beatles. Has to sound good or it doesn't work.
Well, and that's what Mel Brooks always said about his parodies, right? Like, if he did Spaceballs, where all the effects were all lame and stupid looking, like some cheap B sci-fi movie, he's like, nobody would have took it seriously, and he's like,
Yeah.
and the jokes wouldn't have landed. You have to believe you're in that world. Same thing with Blazing Saddles. Same thing with
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein. That's why it works.
It's
yeah.
that whole suspension of disbelief.
And to the point of Nick first not liking this movie, well, in hindsight, I'm sure that you laugh at it because it's true,
no, I
right?
laughed my ass off
Because it's
of how
true. The
it
best
is.
comedy
Oh, yeah.
is truth, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said,
Mhm.
when you're at the time, I was in the band. Also, I was reading a lot of stories. Also, I have many friends who've been in touring bands, and I have heard endless horror stories. Like, don't get me wrong, all of them have loved their part-time or career, whichever it is. But
Mhm.
there's so many like crazy things that happen like about every single day, and it's all unplanned and most of the time out of their control. So that relatability factor, and obviously, and sometimes obviously to a smaller extent, because I was never in a touring band, but I've definitely seen it and dealt with it in smaller cases. Even one time when I helped do roadie stuff for some bands, like shit happens all the freaking time. So yeah, at the time
you didn't like it, but now looking back, you probably tell these stories and laugh your ass off about
now
it.
I
Right?
worship the ground this movie like plays on.
Even for smaller bands, though, Nick, like when we toured from anywhere from Virginia down to Florida or up towards New York, we had a running rule. The PA system is not for your fucking beer.
Right?
Little sticker on the side, it said that. Because somebody did that and ruined an entire PA system.
Oh, I bet. No,
It don't take much.
I have
Well,
a friend's band, and they
it's
had
mostly made out of paper, right?
Yeah.
They did a drill where they had to make sure they had all their equipment like taken down, everything off the stage in less than 10 minutes. They're really good about it. But even when they try to do their best, something always went wrong. Maybe something got knocked over by someone else outside the band, or something got caught in something. It's just like live show every day. You're on the road, or just playing a show in general. You're on the life suspense. And it's great though. It's still like,
This is
don't get me
another
wrong,
one.
I wouldn't take it back.
I don't think we're the problem. Problem is that there was a Stonehenge monument on stage that's in danger of being crushed by a dwarf. I don't think you understand.
The problem may have been that there was a Stonehenge monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed by a dwarf. All right? That tended to understate the hugeness of the object.
But you're not as confused as him, are you?
Well, the real question is, are we going to do Stonehenge or no?
That's right
No, we're
before
not
the manager
fucking doing
downplays
Stonehenge
it. The
tonight.
manager downplays it. He's like, "Oh no, it's fine." Like he thought he's obviously was trying not to take the blame, but he just was trying to downplay like it was no big deal. But bro,
Stonehenge was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was it.
Yeah.
Yes. It all comes boiling to the top.
What's
I've never heard that line before. I mean, we fixed the choreography. Keep the dwarf clear.
Right?
I got to clip that. I haven't clipped that one.
I never
That's
seen
my
that.
favorite.
I never heard that in the movie.
Oh, you never heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Not him saying it specifically. It must have got blended in with whatever else they were saying.
This is a good bit. This is where it gets real. This is a band meeting. What is she doing?
This is where we go
They
full
won't tread upon
Yoko?
it.
Oh yeah, she goes full Yoko.
Yeah, full
she does.
Yoko here. I remember. Oh boy.
That's
Damn
why when you
Yokos.
first told me
You
you
should
were
never
going to do
go
this,
full
I was all
Yoko.
about Stonehenge, man. It's the best part of the flick.
Nah, dude.
Oh,
guys in bands, man, and maybe even if there's ladies out there who don't. I mean, obviously there's bands like Kitty who were doing it before there was all these quotas. They might be doing some guy who may be the Yoko. Obviously, they're fewer in numbers, or I say that now. I'm wrong.
All these great British slang words, poncy.
I don't know.
Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, what's a ponce?
Ponce would be, well, it's pretty gay. Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to say anything too bad. Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I thought it meant. Yep.
Kind of like the F word.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that.
There's no sex, no drugs for David.
I thought they changed that for Holly Writers. Come on. I thought those were the F words.
Sorry, did that say what I thought it said, though? Local Hebrews.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, he said that.
That's a lot.
Local
He said that.
Hebrews.
I forgot he said that.
Oh, yeah. He started going
name
off.
there. What's her name? The one that plays the girlfriend.
Oh, he just brought it up too.
Yeah, hang on. I'll get it.
Bitch, yeah.
Her name
Like I said,
is June Chadwick.
Thank you.
June Chadwick.
Couldn't find her in here. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, on her page, she's known for this is Spinal Tap V, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and Magnum PI.
So I've seen her somewhere before.
She was on the V series. If you've watched that,
Yeah.
I was a kid when that came out.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a
I'm a
great.
kid now.
Well, it started out great. It ended up pretty poor. But.
Oh, what happened?
But yeah, things coming apart here.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The end of the line is approaching. Oh, it gets. Yeah.
It's your fucking wife.
Australian snipe.
Fuck you. As he goes off to do it, I quit. And then he goes again. That's the rock star life, guys. It's pretty much like it's being married to several dudes. You're around each other all day, every day. The littlest like things get to the little things can sometimes annoy you, things that normally shouldn't. Just because you're around it so much, you're like you get irritated a little bit easier, more knee jerky. So yeah, it happens. And then you have conversations like this when you look at it, and I was like, man, this is what they're arguing about, but that's what happens.
No, we're not gonna fucking do Stonehenge.
I'm gonna clip that right now. I gotta clip that. I'm gonna load that up and clip that sucker right
That's
now.
what Derek Smalls says about the other two. One's fire and one's ice. I'm kind of like the lukewarm water in the middle.
I think you're more like the soft ice cream that's melted around the side of a container of ice cream.
Well, what I thought of when I saw the girl. Hang on one second. Let me think. What was it? Oh yeah, it was the documentary. I say documentary. The movie about Freddie Mercury, where that one guy that was running with him got the manager fired. That's exactly what I thought of when I saw this. You know, I was like, wow, that probably happens a lot. They blame everything on the manager, I would imagine.
I do want to point out here that
that's one of the things I think there was
right
bullshit in that movie, but yeah.
Christopher Guest is also the Six Finger Man.
Yes, of course.
Yes. A lot of people don't know that because he does such a good job of blending into his character. that's the same person that played Nigel.
Yep, he's one of those guys that's a chameleon. You never really
He
recognize
really
him.
is, dude. He really becomes whatever character he's playing.
Yep.
Well, Nigel's the heart, you know. David is more of the soul, and then of course, what's his face? Harry Shearer's character. You just said his name too, and I forgot it. You know, he's kind of more of the backbone, I guess. You know,
Smalls.
Derek
Smalls.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got it. Yeah.
Usually drummers are a backbone, but Spinal Tap had a drummer issue. So,
well, if the drummer's the backbone, then they should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, their drummers don't stick around very long.
Oh, here it is in both like fire and ice.
Like poets, like Shelley or Byron. Like fire and ice, and basically, I feel the role of the band is to be kind of in the middle of that, like lukewarm water in the sense.
I can't help but laugh every time I see Harry Shearer's on the screen.
This is so different from him in real life, yeah.
Oh my God. Matt Vader just said that Derek looks like, or Nick looks like Derek Small's love child.
I said that at the beginning of the stream.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We said that earlier, yeah.
No, I want to add about his character because obviously with the actor playing him, and here, oh God,
Spinal Tap.
Yes, here.
What is this guy's name? I forgot his name.
This is
he was in American Wedding. I remember.
He just passed away too. Damn it.
Yeah, he was a great deadpan comedian. Yeah.
Was he in That 70s Show?
Oh my God.
Oh, he was on.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't That 70s Show.
Fred
He was
Willard.
Jesus
Christ.
Fred Willard. That's his
Fred
name.
Willard.
Yes,
Yeah,
guy is great.
He got in trouble for
Very
some photographs
undersung.
too.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
I mean, guys, you guys know. I think that Charles Grodin is the greatest straight man ever, but this guy may be the second best
He
ever.
was, yeah.
I'm telling you, too funny.
What was that show that was a mock soap that he was on? Fernwood Tonight.
Okay,
that's where he got his.
I
start
love
with
him
Fernwood
in the other movies they did. Besides this, he was really good in the follow-ups. Best in Show and Mighty Wind.
Yeah. Oh, he was a regular. Christopher Guest regular.
Yeah.
Guest loved working with him.
Well, hey, what happened?
They're at the replacement. They're the replacement band at this little. Basically, it's the equivalent of a VFW hall. If you know what a VFW hall. If you know, I'm assuming anyone in the chat here knows what a VFW hall is. But that's basically where they've dumbed down to. This is like when Smash Mouth went from playing Soldier Field to playing, well, let's just say a venue to like 100 people.
Their reaction to him using military time is hilarious, man. Anybody that's ever been in the military try to explain it to friggin' civilians, man. It's like that.
The funny thing is, when I was in the military, we had the most kick-ass bands play at our gigs.
Oh yeah,
we were in a big Air Force base. We had a lot of money for the social fund, and we could hire really good bands.
The USO for the U.S. troops, they always send out some good people, man.
Yeah, they get some
Who'd
great
you get
rock
70s?
Bands.
Who'd you get?
Oh, I mean, most of them weren't name bands, but there were some of the best sort of level below that you could get, or some of the best cover bands. They were kick ass, you know. These were really good. We did have a couple of bands. We had a band called Bad Manners. They were quite a big chart band, a ska band. They were big in the charts. We had them. They were good fun. But yeah, we had a lot of good stuff.
Another drummer.
Kick ass, dude.
That's it was awesome. Great. Yeah. Well, you'd get 2,000 or 3,000 people at these gigs on the base. You know, it was quite a big deal. You know,
so that's a straight up. Yeah, that's a freaking act. Like that's a big time show, dude. Wow. Holy shit.
I remember we had Am I Evil? Diamond Head,
yeah.
Because they were right next to us. They were from the village right next to the base. So we had them in our club a number of times, Diamond Head.
I'm glad you mentioned Diamond Head, and quick detour before we bring it back to the movie. A lot of Diamond Head, a lot of their monthly income nowadays comes from Metallica just playing their cover of Am I Evil. So they basically just live life knowing that they just go around their day. Yeah. And their lives are funded by Metallica just for covering that song, because obviously with how massively huge they got, like Imagine that as a life. Like this band that became a lot bigger than me covered my song, and now basically they fund my livelihood because they cover the
pension plan. Yeah.
Well, they still tour some, don't they?
Yeah, once every few years they do. But the thing is, they don't really have to. Is all I'm getting. Like, but they do love playing shows, and they're really still into it. But yeah, it was every few years they do like a few smaller tours. They'll do like a 10, like 2, maybe 3-week tour, and then that's about it. And they'll do it again in a few years from now. What's up, Jacob? Society Reviews. I see you in the chat.
What?
All right, I clipped my favorite line. Here we go.
All right.
Can I raise a practical question at this point? Are we going to do Stonehenge tomorrow?
No, we're not gonna fucking do Stonehenge.
If someone pisses me off on the show, I just play that clip, right?
Good. Now, could anybody tell what was coming over his radio? The thing that made him storm off stage, the radio. What was coming over?
That was interference from the call tower.
Control.
That's what I thought. The air traffic control tower. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's why they set up. That's why they say they set up that scene in the guitar room where they show the remote. So Rob Reiner said, "Yeah, we showed the remote to try to," and he said that happened a lot. You know, that happened to a bunch of bands too.
Oh, man.
One of the guys was saying that happened to them, like they're at a concert and they couldn't hear anything. Yeah,
that is too good. I was rolling. That's too good.
Oh no. Right. If I told them once, I told them 100 times to put Spinal Tap first and Puppet Show last.
It's a morale builder, isn't it?
You know who would have liked that cucumber? Mad.
Oh yeah.
Mad. He would have liked it wrapped in foil and everything. him and Handy Randy.
Just what saying. If I put Matt on the cucumber? He probably does them as fighting words.
Matt is the cucumber.
On that birthday stream, I was like, "Your face keeps us all from seeing boobies."
Oh, that man.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. Jazz Odyssey. I always love talking about this one.
We're not about to do a freeform jazz
Here's
in
one
front
written
of
by
a
the
festival crowd.
Here's one written by the bass player.
Mark 2.
We're Spinal Tap Mark 2.
Hope you enjoy the band's new direction. It's like no one there.
This is where the departure, the crowds are depressing. Look at that. Wow. That's like they're going. It's almost like they're now at Battle of the Bands level at high school.
Yeah.
Now they show one guy in the crowd. Is it Christopher? There he is. No, it's not Christopher Guest. I thought it was when I first saw it. That it was him out there giving him the thumbs down. That was hilarious. That's
How the mighty have fallen.
That happens. You go see a band and they don't play any of their good songs.
You wrote this.
Like I had a friend who went to see Bob Dylan. He's like, he didn't play any of his hits.
Oh, that's typical Dylan. He does that a lot. Like even though I have a buddy of mine who's a big fan of his, and he tells me he has a thing where he doesn't like to play the same set every tour, so he does tours where he changes it up. Which I'm going to be very fair and contrarian here. I don't think that's totally a bad idea. I mean, if you really are going out of your way, even when you have X amount of albums, I mean, yeah, you should definitely try to represent it so that way people could try to get acquainted.
He's like, a few hits or something. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And of course, and then Iron Maiden take it to a much higher degrees because I think it was 2006. They put at their time, that was the year the album A Matter of Life and Death came out. That album was around like 70 minutes long. And there's a lot of division on those type of albums. And especially when that 70 minutes takes up 80-85% of your set. And then and that's Maiden playing out their 12th album. Like it could definitely get a crowd very divisive. It's like, yeah, it's cool to hear all this material we never heard live, but you leave out so many songs because of that, because you do such a big album. It's not like we're an album when they used to come out, they used to be like 40 minutes. Now they put out these 70-minute albums. It's just like you maybe can play Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills, but you leave out like Aces High. You leave out your what was that song from
Soul Sea Jack?
the trooper. Like, yeah, it's all I'm just saying. Like, yeah, it's I understand the conflict. You know, you grew up with songs, you want to hear them live, especially if you're taking your son to, like, let's just say you're bringing your son to their first show. You want to see why you want to show them why you grew up being so attached to them, but now you're disconnected because it's a bunch of new stuff you don't recognize.
Yeah, because I went to see Jethro Tull. I'm a huge Tull fan, and that Thick as a Brick was like the advertisers were playing the album, excuse me, all the way through. But then for the encore, they did like 4 or 5 of their, top songs too. But you knew going into the show, hey, we're playing Thick as a Brick, all the way through. And of course, if you're a big fan and you like the album, but but yeah, 80 minutes or, I think Jethro Tull was one of the first bands to do that with, the whole album, or that was a response to, they said, Aqualung wasn't really a concept album. So they said, Ian Anderson said, I'm not going to give you a concept album. And that came Thick as a Brick. And there's a lot of satire in Tull too. And there's a lot of Tull in this, well, every band too. And that's why I think some bands got pissed off, but then Reiner
they all thought it was about them.
Yeah.
They
and
all
he's like,
thought
it's
it was
not
about them.
It's just pieces
It's
from everywhere.
pieces of them, yes.
Yeah.
I'd make the argument that Jethro Tull lived a real life Spinal Tap moment, winning a Grammy Award for a metal band.
Oh yeah, right. It's like John Denver winning for country.
Yeah, the agent told them not to go. He said, "Well, you've got no chance of winning." As much as I'm a fan, and some of their music is really heavy.
Do too.
But
I like
yeah,
Tull.
but I know it's not a dig. But it's like there's no way I would pick Jethro Tull for heavy metal over Metallica. I mean,
that was the whole
they didn't want
controversy
to pick
of the whole
Metallica.
thing.
Yeah. But then Jethro Tull came out at an ad. They took out ad said the flute is a heavy metal instrument.
I remember that,
and that's one band that should be in the Rock Hall of Fame too.
Was when Ian Anderson said that they only took that name because it was the first band name that they got a call back on.
Yeah,
because they were using multiple band names when they were playing.
Yeah, it is a great name. Yeah, it's a farmer in the ancient. Is it Scott? Is he Scottish? 70s or Ian Anderson?
He's not. He wasn't born in Scotland, but he has got Scottish ancestors. Yeah,
That's
so
what
he
I
does
thought,
have a place up in the West Highlands.
And a salmon farm at one point.
Yeah,
too.
he dresses up all the tartan. So he is Scottish descendant, but I think he was born in England. He hasn't got a Scottish accent.
Yeah, and they're one of the guys. They were one of the bands too. They were really dramatic in terms of the set pieces and going, nuts on stage in the 70s. So part of that, and a lot of bands.
It was the cod piece that did all the acting.
Piece, and but a lot of bands, not that you copied it, but then the stage, then obviously had Kiss in the 70s, and like I remember the kids on our street, they're like, we're gonna dress up like Kiss and we're gonna have some explosions. One of the guys is like, I'm gonna get we're like 10, 12 years old. The guy's like, I get all the gas cans from all the lawnmowers and we're going to put them in a pail and light them up. We have a big explosion. I'm like, I told my dad and he squat, I'm like that guy could have seen 10 kids setting fire trying to imitate Kiss. I mean, stupid things you think, don't try that at home. And we never did it. But
you were about to.
Yeah, we're about
You were about to try that at home.
I'm like, Dad, would that be dangerous if we took all 10 gallons of gas and lit it up?
Wow.
You'll have to wait until you're 12, son.
Well, this is the 70s, right? I mean, you left in the morning, came home at night. I mean,
yeah, parents didn't give a shit. It's like, as long as you don't burn your face off.
Yeah, we would all
don't tell your mom.
Yeah. that was the age-old secret. Don't tell your mom.
Still use that shit.
Just because Dad knows. You got to be tough. You got to, once in a while, you can't be like, yeah, your mom will kick your ass, but go
just
for it.
But you're just 4 feet.
And these lyrics are so toxic too. It's like you're
too well hung.
Yeah, I mean, you read these lyrics. It's just, I mean, they're really, of course, like Whitesnake.
I was gonna say, what's sad is how much they're like real lyrics of some of the songs.
They are.
Yeah, like Scorpions. The itch is hungry, so feed her. So feed her, give her inches and feed her well.
Yeah.
Safety tip: don't lip sync that song when your girlfriend in college walks into the room. It doesn't really go over that well, That's singing that song as she walks in. That was, and then she's like, "What are you singing?" I'm like, it's a song. Sorry. Yeah, that was not a good moment. Yeah,
That's an amazing moment. I wish that was a real life instant replay of that.
Yeah, there were no cell phones back in the 80s, thankfully, but yeah.
Man, could you imagine? Like if there was social media in the 70s and 80s?
Oh God,
I would
half
love.
of these
I'd
bands
actually
wouldn't have
love
made
it.
it.
No, they would
Some of the
not.
stuff they did.
Dee Snider would have been in jail before we're not going to take it for banging all the 17-year-olds.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Dude, shit would have been crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember
Can you imagine-
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say I remember Def Leppard. I think it was Def Leppard, not to impugn the guys, but they had like the drum solo would happen, and they took the girls back down stage, and one of the guys is like, well, you know, in this interviews, he's like, yeah, one night I betted a mom and a daughter at the same time. Like, and you're admitting that on you know,
No.
I mean, on the show, it's like pretty decadent.
This is
Dave
actually a
Mustaine
sweet moment in the movie. This is Bros Before Hoes.
Yep.
This is a sweet moment. These guys have been playing together. They're school friends, and they've been playing in bands for years, and they're back together. That's kind of cool.
Yep, and he almost gets triggered when the radio starts messing up again, but then he says "hell with it" and starts wailing. Yeah,
because they're big in what is it, China or Japan? I can't remember.
Big in
which.
Japan. Big in Japan.
Yep. No, that's the same drummer. He survived all this time.
Now, is that Mick?
Oh, there he went, right there.
See, there was Mick Shrimpton and there was
went.
Rick Shrimpton. There was two different Shrimptons that were drummers. I don't know which one's which.
And then they got the new guy at the end.
Yeah, there was a Mick and a Rick Shrimpton.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't clip the drummer spontaneously combusting. Yeah, that's the other great line. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands. Yeah. So now they're in Japan. Yeah, so
Exploded on stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Rick Shrimpton allegedly sold his dialysis machine for drugs and is presumed dead. That was one of the other drummers.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Do we need
sold his dialysis machine?
Do we want to do some trivia at all, or
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
we could run through some real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, run through some.
In 2002, it was put in the Library of Congress for the United States National Film Registry. It actually was put in before Rob Reiner's other directed film, Princess Bride, believe it or not.
Wow.
That took another almost 15 years to get put in.
Wow.
Afterwards, believe it or not. So yeah, it predated that one. A popular bar outside of or on Milwaukee's east side changed its name to Shank Hall after the fictitious Milwaukee location where the band appears midway through their fateful tour. So there is now a Shank Hall in Milwaukee if you want to visit it. Early home video versions had a disclaimer at the very end stating that the band did not actually exist. Let's see here. What else we got here? There's a lot.
I love the look on the manager's face just now when he was looking at the girlfriend holding the wooden stick, the cricket bat. That was hilarious.
I got one for you, Tom. Do you know who's one of the biggest outspoken detractors towards this movie? Steve Tyler.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
Wow.
Yep, Steve Tyler. He was very vocal about this movie.
Interesting.
Tough shit.
Tough
Well,
shit.
that just means half
right?
this stuff happened to him then.
Yep, that's all it means.
Well, what it shows the truth that most rock bands are pretty dumb.
Oh,
that's
God.
one truthful part of this. They're all high school dropouts that are pretty dumb.
I mean, dude, as I just said to Gonzalo Bergali in the chat, you may be amazing at one thing, but just because you're amazing at that one thing doesn't mean you excel at every other field in life. Like, obviously, that's your talent, so that's your talent. But you could be the biggest airhead for doing something else. Like, you could be amazing, like, you know, shredding away a guitar. But that same guy could also be the biggest dunce on the fucking planet when it comes to putting a spare tire on his car. Even though that's easy as shit to do, but he might be a dunce about it. It does happen.
Yeah.
Vice
Yeah,
versa.
it's like I was talking to 70s one time, and you know I'm good at art, but he's been doing a lot of reviews of all these Bollywood movies, and I'm like, well, I can't do that one because my kryptonite is reading. I reread things over and over again, and that's just my kryptonite. I could do math all day and draw, you know, but when it comes to reading, yeah, I couldn't do it for you. No
Go
way.
ahead, Tom. Continue with the.
Oh no,
trivia.
there's a few more things here, I guess.
Go ahead.
They used to open the live show as the Folksmen, their other band from Mighty Wind.
There you go.
Supported themselves,
right?
Supported themselves.
Yeah, so they actually supported themselves, and I guess Liam Gallagher and Noel Gallagher of Oasis went to see them live, and Liam got bored during the Folksmen, and his brother explained to him that they're the same guys.
They're the
And
same
that was the
fucking
point
guys,
when Liam was distraught because he realized Spinal Tap was not a real band.
Oh God,
that's awesome.
Anything about Tenacious D? Because I always felt they were inspired by him.
Oh, I'm sure they had some inspiration. But,
yeah.
They had to. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I didn't know about as far as the Harry. I never really put it together, even though I know who he was because I grew up on The Simpsons. That I didn't probably.
You didn't put that together.
Oh, you didn't put that together.
No.
Okay.
I'm not talking about today. I think probably around my early or mid 20s is when I kind of put that together. So it was late, but not right now late. Like, no. I well know now. I trust me when I say I know that, but at the time, like, hold on, Harry Shearer, Simpsons, Harry. Oh, holy crap! Because I never actually saw a photo of Harry Shearer before I saw Spinal Tap. I didn't, so my mind was kind of blown away.
You know, apparently Blackie Lawless is in there somewhere in one of the
somewhere.
clips. I can't spot him, but it says he's in a commercial. There's a commercial in it.
I can't find him.
He's a headbanger in a commercial. I'm not sure what they mean by commercial, but he's in the movie somewhere.
Roger, this is one of Roger Ebert's favorite films. It's on his greatest movies list.
No,
I'm not
that's not
surprised.
surprising at all.
That's awesome.
But Paul Schaefer, who is in this, back in that day, we didn't really know him from David Letterman. We knew him from Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
So I never realized how serious a musician he was. I just thought he was the guy that played Don Kirshner.
Well, when you get a lot of these charity things, like the 9/11 charity gig that The Who and all these other bands did, he was the musical director of that. Paul Schaefer, because he does musical directing of a lot of those big events.
And Letterman had a local show that was on in New York. I don't know if it was anywhere else, but it was a daytime talk show. So I remember watching that as a kid and knowing Paul Schaefer from that too. So
he is a Canadian, and one of the clips I've got on my channel is a clip from Canadian television in the 90s of him and Ashley McIsaac, who's a famous Canadian fiddle player. They did a lot of rock stuff as well, and it's them playing live together on a Canadian show, which is kind of neat, you know. Rita McNeil, it was the Rita McNeil show. She was a famous Canadian kind of folk singer. So it's a really neat clip of him back in Canada on TV doing some stuff.
I know why Steven Tyler was pissed, I guess.
Why?
He took it very personally because it came out when Aerosmith was at a low point, and the Stonehenge scene looked like the cover of their 1982 album Rock in Another Place.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but that's funny.
That is funny. Wow.
Get a life. Yeah, get a life. Yep.
Oh, man.
That just made it even funnier.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sorry, Steve Tyler. I like some of your old albums, but bro, no. You just.
Did anybody ever see him when he was on? I think he's been on there more than once, but at least the first time he was on Rogan, dude is a nut job.
Yeah, he's a bit nuts. I've seen him live and with his own when he did that last solo album. I saw him live on that tour. He was really good. He had a good band.
Who was it?
Steve Tyler, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Steven Tyler.
My niece actually went to school with one of his kids, so I've got pictures of him at like a class party or picnic, and he was singing "Happy Birthday." This is kind of when cell phones were just starting, so my sister-in-law had like clipped it or taken a picture. But then Steven Tyler is singing "Happy Birthday" to the kids at school. It was kind of surreal.
You know, my
kids
favorite,
had no idea who it was.
My favorite Steven Tyler story is when they were at the height of or depths of their smack addiction, Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
So they came on stage and they decided to switch the set around before the gig, and they played the song they normally played last. They played it first, So they get to the end of the song and he goes, "Thank you, good night," and he leaves the stage. And they couldn't get him to come back out. He says, "No, fuck it, man, we've done the gig." And that's a true story. If you look it up, they couldn't get him to come back on. He said, "Fuck, man, we did the whole set."
Yeah, that sounds like something an addict would do. I tell you what's amazing to me is that guy looks like he hit every branch on the ugly tree on the way down.
Yeah, right.
And
Tyler.
his daughter is one of the most, looks just like him and is gorgeous.
Well, that's because he looks like a
freaks me
little
out.
old lady and he dresses like one too.
Oh my
Dude
God.
looks like a lady.
Yeah,
But she didn't know that Steven Tyler was her dad for years.
No,
And
she
the mom.
She
You know,
was
that's
raised by Todd Rundgren.
Yep.
No
And
kidding.
she still calls him dad today. She says, "I've got two dads," because she never knew Steven Tyler was her father, but he
I haven't
raised
heard
her.
that name in a long time. I like his music.
he
And
was
I've heard
really
that
good to her
Todd's
and
a
her
better
mother.
songwriter, right?
Yeah,
Well, and he also
Todd
was most famously a producer a lot of the time for Jim Steinman and Meatloaf and a lot of other people.
Yeah. Todd, I was a big fan of Todd Rundgren. I mean, he's a dick now,
He,
but
he produced it. Yeah, he produced Bat Out
really?
of Hell most famously, but yeah.
But I was a huge, I was a big, mouthy, lefty, mouthy.
Oh,
shit.
yeah, okay, gotcha.
Who was?
Politically, Todd Rundgren. But I was an enormous fan of his, and like still
I
something.
still
If
am.
you talk about albums that go up to 11, something his album, Something
Yeah.
Anything, is one of the greatest
Oh, yeah.
albums ever made.
I love this bit here with Nigel, though. This is one of my second favorite bits of his. Maybe I could run a haberdashery.
What the hell?
Do you have this in black? No, we're all out. I'm sorry.
All I know is I'm still jealous of that guy.
Into the
That's one of my
Void.
first crushes ever. Was after seeing Halloween is his wife. Man, my God, she was a babe back then.
Into the Void mentions the Sabbath song Stonehenge, and that's true. They actually had a similar scenario with their Stonehenge because their set because it was all fucked up. I don't know if it's directly connected to this movie, but that's true.
They had midgets on. Hold on, they had midgets on.
There was a couple of different
Yeah.
inspirations, it sounds like, from Led Zeppelin to Black Sabbath and the whole Pink Floyd thing
And
I said earlier.
I think Dio had left them. I can't remember the site. Was it Tony Martin was singing then, or
It was Tony Martin because by the time that happened, Ozzy did a similar thing of having midgets on stage because
it was a thing.
He had midgets on stage because he was trying to take a stab at Dio right before he had left Black Sabbath. Yeah, he was taking shots.
Well, and then I don't know who else has seen Return to Spinal Tap here.
Oh,
but
the voice
in
was Ian Gillian from Deep Purple.
In that
They talk about
special,
the Born Again album. So he's talking about the Born Again album. With that
No, it was the
weird
Gillen.
cover.
It was Gillen, yeah.
Oh,
well,
Gillen? Okay.
There's a Stonehenge moment in the Return of Spinal Tap, but famously in that special, the prop is too large to get on the stage. The crew can't get it through the door.
Exact opposite, right?
Yep. And believe it or not, and this is where I thought I was right that Rob Reiner wasn't initially a big part of this until after the fact. Penelope Spheris was actually asked to direct the film. Now, you may not recognize her name, but you've probably seen what she's directed.
She did the Howard Stern movie. Yeah,
she did Decline of Western Civilization, and she also directed Wayne's World.
That's right, yeah.
Good film.
All right,
guys. But I liked that Spinal Tap had the right tone there, the rockumentary tone.
And I mean, the stuff
like it's
goes
real.
on, but yeah.
Well, as they said, they want to get the sights, the sounds, the
And the
smells of Spinal
Well, and the reason
Tap.
I said that is because he directed it, but like that version that I sent you guys, the 4.5 hour one, it doesn't begin with his intro. So I don't know how much he's in that.
When I've got a spare decade, I'll watch it, Tom.
That's
I
coming
know,
up.
that's the problem. It's 4.5 hour fucking.
I
long.
honestly
I know.
intended to watch it this week, and I just never
It's
found
literally
time.
3 times as long as the movie itself. Really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, I have
Yeah,
seen
the
the.
movie's only an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of that stuff when it was put together separately, but I haven't seen it all mixed into the main.
Yeah,
movie.
so well, there's 68 minutes of it on the disc.
So I've
that
got the
Mark's been
DVD,
showing,
the double
and, yeah.
DVD set. This is.
I
the
think it's
British
some
one.
of it's on there, if not two, but yeah. So there's like 60 to 68 minutes on there. So there's another big chunk of it, but that means there's still like another hour and a half that's in this other version I have yet, or whatever. Maybe even
That's
more
cool.
than that.
And then there's been a lot of real revivals of for the guys who've done the band and various charity things.
Well, they're
And
doing a sequel right now, I guess.
Yeah, they did
Yeah, it's pretty
the
much-
Freddie Mercury tribute gig. They were at that. and that was live.
The one right after he died that they did.
Everyone was there. Yeah, they did that. As tribute to Freddie, we've decided to cut our set from 2 hours 50 minutes to 3 minutes today. We know that's how he would have wanted it.
Didn't they sing "Tie Your Mother Down"? Or
no, they did. They did "The Majesty of Rock."
I was gonna say they were all doing Queen songs. I know that.
Well, it wasn't. They did their own one, "Majesty of Rock."
Oh, did they?
The Mystery of Roll.
Well, see, yeah, that's the thing is I have the uncut version, but I haven't watched it yet because when they showed it on television, they chopped it down to where it was only just the Queen songs. But you're right, because I think Metallica started out, and I think they did like Enter Sandman and a couple other their new songs. Then they did like Hammer to Fall or something like that, and then Guns N' Roses came on, and then Elton John came on, and then they did the Axl thing.
Sang "Stone Cold Crazy."
Stone Cold Crazy, that's what it was. Sorry, yeah.
They did their own song, and it was "The Majesty of Rock" was the song they did.
Okay.
The Ticking of the Clock, the minor.
I should have that then, because I don't remember if I ever saw him sing that or not.
They had about a 10-minute wait to start because there was something wrong with the equipment. Something wasn't working, so it was kind of awkward. They were just standing there waiting.
Dozens of people spontaneously combust each year. It's just not really widely reported.
Right.
Yeah.
Just some green goo on a stool.
Well, I'm sure I'd feel much worse if I weren't under such heavy sedation, but still in all, I mean, you've got to be realistic about this sort of thing, you know.
That's just such a fucking great line. It's so subtle, if you're not paying attention, it just flies by you. But it's so good.
So what would everyone's favorite song be, though?
Oh, Stonehenge. That's my
Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Big Bottom is so funny though too.
Otherwise, Money. I love
that's
Money.
my favorite. That's my
mud
favorite.
flaps on my girl. Yeah. Oh my god.
My girl's
Talk about mud flaps. My girl's got them.
I think Money gets overlooked.
The sweeter the pushing,
because it actually sounds like a song from that era that it's supposed to be coming from, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody forgets about Money.
Yeah,
Sex Farm is great too.
Sex Farm is great too. I think if I was to pick a title that was my favorite, it would be "Swallow My Love." But I think the song would
Lick
probably
My Love
Bitch School is a great song.
That got banned by video got banned by MTV too.
That's right.
So they wouldn't.
Yeah, back when they started getting woke.
Yeah, well, then Rob Reiner was saying, or one of the guys was saying that someone got fired for sexual harassment at MTV, and then the people that took over were not too keen on it. It's like the day that we tried to, we sent them that song, that happened, so they weren't too keen on it that day. Yep. But yeah, that title, just.
But and I love the title, the cover of it, the image. It goes the great thing about it all is that they've not just done this; they've created a whole ecosystem around it with all the fake album titles and covers.
To what the flower people
and even that, going back to the previous iterations of the band, there's the beat group version, the flower power version. There's
Stop wasting my time.
Another band that they're based on is a British band called Status Quo. Who a lot of you guys might not know. We say status in Britain, but you guys would call it status quo. They were huge denim-clad hard rock boogie rock band in Britain, but they started as a psychedelic band in the 60s. Pictures of Matchstick Men, which was a big.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of them right now.
And then they changed into this kind of hard rock and long-haired whatever. There's a lot of them in Spinal Tap as well.
Okay.
And the Quo are one of my favorite bands of all time. Like they rocked hard until they decided to take the dollars from making pop hits later in their career.
All right.
The Gospel According to Spinal Tap. This pretentious, ponderous collection of religious rock psalms is enough to prompt the question, what day did the Lord create Spinal Tap, and couldn't he have rested on that day too?
Never heard that one. Good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Just to create all the covers and everything, it's a great touch to have it.
Well, that's what I love about the soundtrack I have. It has all those covers in it. Yeah.
Private chat.
I didn't know about this with Johnny Rod being a big fan of the status quo. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's a big
one. Status Quo in the 60s, that's picture
that's a big one. Okay, I'm going to read a few scores real quick. Vigilante Williamson, 8 or 9. Das Wolfen, to 11. Gonzalo, to 11. D-Bud, Toxicity 9 out of 10, overall 11. And then Steve Tyler's toes are more gnarly than Breeze. Rob Altus, 11 out of 10 for Toxicity, 11 out of 10 because it goes to 11. Deleted scenes, 11. And I have to go for 11 as both of you. We'll zoom that down, Tom, again.
I was going to
have at it.
Oh, we both did it at the same time. Yep. Double trouble.
It's in the record album too, but that's the smaller version in the CD. But yeah, like it says, other Spinal Tap albums you might have missed. You've got
Too good.
The Gospel of Spinal Tap, Brain Hammer, Shark Sandwich.
Shark Sandwich, yep.
Heavy
And on
Metal.
Shark Sandwich, which was merely a 2-word review, just said shit sandwich.
How'd they print that? Where'd they print that? That's not real, is it? You can't print that.
And of course, Intravenous de Milo and The Sun Never. The sun never sweats.
Never sweats. Yeah.
The sun never sweats.
And then, of course, later on we had Break Like the Wind and Back from the Dead.
There was Bent for the Rent was another one.
Yeah, Bent for the Rent.
So I have some random trivia. No one will get this, but when they're playing the game on the bus, can anyone tell me what the computer was in the chat and what game they were playing?
Was it Pong or was it some Atari game? I can't remember.
It's an obscure computer system.
It wasn't the Elf game.
No. I had the computer. I had the game. So that's when I was.
It's not the Commodore 64, was it?
Sega Genesis.
No,
It's a was it ColecoVision computer thing?
It wasn't an Atari then. Wasn't it
No.
NES? Not a NES.
No.
All right, that's enough. Come on, Mark. Tell us.
All right. Well, I'm waiting to see if someone gets in the chat.
No, nobody's going to get it.
All right. No one's going to get it. It's a Tandy color computer.
Oh, that's right. Tandy. Yes,
that was my first
Tandy,
computer.
yes.
And my first computer had 4K, which is less memory than this the smartwatch I've got right now.
Yep.
Probably.
Right.
It had a Dorito chip in it.
At 4K, and it was a color computer. And the game was called Polaris. So actually, in the game,
Polaris. That's it. Yes.
The game is Polaris.
Dorito chip.
Said it had a Dorito chip in it.
Fuck you, Tom. That's funny.
And there's a line in the movie where he says, "Oh, I want to go play with hang out with the guys in the back. They got a new submarine game, and the game is based on a freaking submarine."
Yeah,
so
Polaris,
actually, the line in the movie fits the. That's how the attention to detail. Yeah. So
Very cool.
I was just laughing. I mean, no one had that. Well, it was a pretty popular computer, but it's damn old now. So
yeah. I had a ColecoVision, and my next one was an Atari, so I'd never had one of those Tandies. No.
Let's see if I can pull up a. Yeah, so here's the I'll share real quick. It's just nerding out on the game here, but let's see if I
go
got
ahead. Let's nerd out.
Old school gaming, but here's the game. Let me share the screen here. Here's the Polaris game. See, so it's a sub game, and that's the game they're playing in the movie. Mm-hmm. And here's that's the later version. Where's an old here? Yeah, that's the computer. So I was like, holy shit! It's and they called the game described the game the right way. But yeah, so that's Polaris. Yeah, I wonder if that's worth more if I get one of the guys from Spinal Tap to sign that. That would be awesome.
So is that like product placement at the time? Do you think?
I don't think so. I think it was just random. Like a band would be playing a game. I didn't see anything in the credits, but yeah, but that
was probably something they had in the background or something. Just
but it was just in that one.
You got to remember, this movie was made very guerrilla.
This is Status Quo in 1974 at the height of their rocking power. So you can see the bass player is Alan Lancaster on the right. He's kind of Derek Smallsy, He's kind of
I can see it actually. I can
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good share of 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, they were the ultimate boogie band.
Look at them pants everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Heads down, no nonsense, mindless boogie.
All right, gents. Dustin, why don't you say your final thoughts?
I think, as far as a comedy movie, I think it's perfect. Obviously, being a big music fan, it just hits all the right notes. I think Toxicity, got to go with 11. I mean, I know it's been said in the chat, but you got to go with 11.
Fucking awesome, dude.
Now, the one downside about this movie is I think it spawned all the stuff that drive me nuts. Is like all of the The Office and all that stuff, all that reality TV, like the fake mockumentary TV. And probably people hate on me for that, but
no, I get what you're saying. Sometimes there will be something that come out that kind of like changes the game per se, and when it does, it spawns off a lot of stuff that's not so good.
Because this was awesome, and I think it was groundbreaking when it came out. I don't think there was ever a movie like this before, was there? Like a mockumentary type movie before this?
Oh man, not to my knowledge. I could be wrong though. So
I can't remember one. I really can't.
So I mean, it's groundbreaking in the comedy sense that it was so well done that people thought it was real.
Yeah.
And then poke fun at a lot of stuff that probably made other musicians either go, "Yep," or why would they give our secret away? So I think it's perfect in that aspect. So yeah, I mean, it's a definite 10 out of 10 for that. And I mean, there's nobody, I was in bands for years and stuff too. So there's never been anybody who hasn't played guitar that didn't go, this goes to 11.
Oh yeah, right. We would know. All right, Dustin, well said. Thank you, sir. 70s.
I'm not going to give it 11. I'm going to give it 18 because that's the number of drummers they had. So it goes to 18. This is one of the... Well, I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
I agree.
Certainly when it comes to imaginary bands, fictional bands, it's there, and we could do a whole show on fictional bands. They're incomparable. Certainly one of my favorite movies. It's in my top 10 without a doubt. So it's a masterpiece and couldn't live without it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. As a movie, 10 out of 10. Yeah.
All right. Killer. Thank you, sir. Gerry of Midnight's Edge Jr.
As a rock drummer who has watched many bands implode, because I played with a lot of bands, I gotta tell
Is that you, Gerry?
That
Thank God you made it through the show. You didn't.
1986, and I'm still friends with that guitarist right to this day, Jim Lawrence.
Wow.
Cool. He was one of those guys. I remember that day I played for 4 bands, July 4th, 1986. I had no drummers showed up that day for the bands. I played for every band. And
it's a death sentence, that's why.
His was the last band to play. And I whispered to him, "Hey, Jim, man, hey, no blues shuffles, please. My hands are fucking killing me. My arms are killing me." He just nods at me, gives me a grin. First fucking song of blues shuffle. And I remember everybody could hear me and started laughing. I said, "You fucking cocksucker." But I got to tell you, man, this is really one of my favorite films of all time. And I don't care. I don't care if I go with the crowd. I give 11/10 for each thing, man. I love this movie.
This one goes to 11.
This one goes to 11, mate. 11 out of 10 for toxicity, 11 out of 10 for the writing, but 11 out of 10 for the improvisation, which includes the acting. And then, of course, 11 out of 10 for the fucking songs, and then 11 out of 10 for the toxicity towards dwarves.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. It is
they didn't want to keep doing the show with the dwarves. Yeah, that was evil.
Yeah, it led to me making a joke that I still make to this day. When somebody asked me to pay for my movie ticket or for the snack bar, I will say, $30? I could hire a dwarf for half that to dance around Stonehenge. Nobody ever gets it, but my kid always laughs when I do it.
I bet.
Please,
she loves Spinal Tap. Zoe loves Spinal Tap.
Oh, good. Even better. Even better. Lucky. All right, Gerry. Tom.
Of course, this goes to 11. On the toxicity level, I mean, the fact that you have not just the whole dwarf business, you've got Smell the Glove, which is totally sexy.
Oh, my God. Yes.
No, that's sexist.
Sexist? What's wrong with being sexist?
What's wrong with being sexist?
But yeah, between all that business, just everything involved, this has to be one of the most toxic beautifully toxic films we've ever done on Toxic Tuesday. The guys in the band and everything are the epitome of the rock star male of the 80s. Clearly, you even have the Yoko Ono girlfriend that gets snubbed in the end, so there's some male toxicity there, and just so many great moments to it. I mean, every scene is great. I mean, every scene is like my favorite scene, of course, but like, yeah, it's just one of those movies you can watch endlessly. Like I said, I quote on the daily. Can't say enough about Spinal Tap, so I'll just end it there. What other ratings we got? It gets 12 handy Randys.
All right, handy Randys it is. 12 of them, too. That goes even beyond 11.
Oh,
yeah, when you need that extra push.
All right. Mark.
Yeah. So, yeah, echoing a lot of things everyone said, but yeah, it's 11.
Yeah, Josh, are you going to do 11 out of 10? Come on, man. Everybody's done it.
11 out of 11. No, this movie's going to be rated an 11. But no, I just, I remember seeing this movie when it came out with my buddies, and we're all, music was such a huge deal to us too. It's like in high school back then. I don't know how it is now, but you sat or hung out with people based on what music you were listening to in some ways, or what you're friends with. Like there was a Deadhead section, you had the heavy metal section, you had like the kids that like pop, you had some reggae kids. I kind of went in a bunch of both worlds, because I like Tull and I like some metal. But yeah, it was identified. And then when this came out, I mean, just couldn't help but see the bands they're spoofing, and when he grabs the violin and he's playing the guitar. And
I love his solos.
And he's making fun of the Led Zeppelin with Jimmy Page doing the bow on the violin. So yeah, it's just all these things that, as you growing up, loving music, you saw the little bits and pieces of everyone they're making fun of. And it's just so freaking intelligent. I mean, it's toxic to the core, just, names of songs like Big Bottom and Lick My Love Pump and all, just the lyrics are just so out there. And yeah, and then you got the great comedy with, Stonehenge and, the line about being sedated. And I mean, so many freaking lines, Spinal Tarp, as they we start off the show with. So you say that to someone, then that they're a fan of the movie or not, if they get that. So, and bands still love to play this. I hear all band people I talk to, they play this on their tour bus, and it's just one of those all-time classics. And Reiner was this was his first directing role. He was on quite a roll, and of course, The Sure Thing is one of my all-time favorite movies, which came after this, which is totally, if you haven't seen The Sure Thing, watch that movie. It's probably wouldn't be fit for Toxic Tuesday, but it's just
in a way kind of, but not really. Like, I mean, the subject matter perhaps, but it's such a romantic comedy that it doesn't fit in the norm of what we do. But I mean, the whole crux of the movie is the guy's going to get laid. That's the whole point of the title.
Mm-hmm. So, if we all get to pick one movie one day, that might be my one overrule everyone else to do a movie. But yeah, I just love this movie. Watched it 3 times today. I was laughing, I'm watching She-Hulk and waiting to please make me laugh at least this week. One laugh, and 30 seconds into Spinal Tap, seeing it, 100 times, you're laughing again. So
in those 3 times that you watched it, you could have watched the 4.5 hour cut.
That's true. I should have. Yeah, I will get to that. But yeah, everyone, that's great. Yeah, you can find that cut that's out there. I won't say where.
Well, I don't know if people can find it or not. Let's say I got it from a friend. Did you find it elsewhere?
Well, I saw it on certain on the tubes.
Okay,
actually.
I didn't know. Okay.
And actually,
I saw it on a porn site.
Yeah, and actually, the director's cut. The guys they mentioned the bootleg on the audio commentary.
Oh, I didn't know if it made it out there.
Yeah. So he said, "Oh yeah, one of Michael McKean." He's like, "Yeah, there's a 4.5 hour cut that you can watch that's out there." So
because I got that from a friend. So
yeah. So track those. Get that Blu-ray. Listen to the director's commentary, and find.
We didn't even bring that up on the Blu-ray and the DVD. That they do a commentary as the band.
Yeah, Reiner does
fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's great.
Reiner does a whole skit with the band, and they're themselves. He's like, well, to
a
this
whole
day,
90-minute commentary.
Yeah, as the band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this is just one of the all-time classics. If you haven't watched it, you're really missing something. So,
all right, before I pass on to Joe and myself, shout out to Magic Poop for this. This is fucking hilarious.
On a separate sheet, Nick, there should be all the drummers, and it should have my face.
Who's the drummer?
Yeah, all the drummers.
Who's the drummer? At the back, on the right. Oh no, that's Viv. That's the keyboard player.
Viv? Is that Viv? The keyboardist. Yeah. There's no drummer on here.
The drummer died.
The drummer's
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is they need to do a separate one to go with it that has my face on all the
18 drummers. Yes, he counted.
All right, Joe's atmosphere. Your turn, sir.
Yes, sir. Of course, overall, I'm going to give it 11 out of 10 for sure. I love this movie. My brother and I crack up about this thing all the time. I do have to go a little bit lower on the toxicity, though. It doesn't have one thing that every mockumentary should have, and that's the girlfriend catching the boyfriend with a chick, after a show. I mean, that kind of goes with it, doesn't it? So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 on toxicity. But the fact that they used so many of the rock and roll lore things in the jokes, I mean. As soon as I heard the vomit thing, when they couldn't figure out whose vomit it was, I about fell out laughing. And the first thing I thought of was Bon Scott, because I think the lore is he puked on it and choked on his own vomit when he died. He was a full-blown alcoholic. So, yeah, 9 out of 10 toxicity, and that's just because of the lyrics of the songs. And the overall 11 out of 10, of course, because 11's louder. You know that.
That's right.
Yep.
And last but not least, thank you, Joe. I'm gonna go to 11 with the scores. But the movie, I'm gonna go to a 32 on this one. So with this movie, seriously, the accuracy is so scary. Like you have to make sure you gotta watch it from a comedy perspective, because when you watch it from that, it's a fucking phenomenal movie. But it really is so accurate to the lifestyle of being in a band. It nails the atmosphere, the environment, as they said earlier, the sounds, the smells, all that stuff. It really does. It really immerses you in their lifestyle and gives you a great understanding. Taking that from how they're living, trying to translate that onto a screen, especially for this cut, hour 20 minutes, that's no fucking easy feat. You gotta really make them feel it and nail it, but they did in such a short amount of time. And of course, the lyrics, the environment around them, the response to the environment around them. It's all just toxic living all day, every day. And that's how you wake up. That's how you freaking live your day until you're freaking out the next morning. So yeah, obviously one of the best fucking movies in the history of ever. So that was Spinal Tap. But next week, we got another movie we're going to talk about. And guys, we all know sometimes marriage can be expensive, but when it's not working out, you need to
be reasonable.
Let's get a divorce. Come on, it's not working out between us. We need to get a divorce. Malina! I'm getting my ass to Mars. It's just a basic instinct I have, I'm telling you.
You do know I use that movie in my lead into every video I do.
Good.
You realize that, right?
Yeah.
No, Joe's atmosphere is the mountain blowing up at the end of it, making the atmosphere on Mars. Yeah.
The question is, Mark, are you going to cut the 3 boobs part, or are you going to leave it in?
We're going to have a lot of mad next week.
That, buddy.
We need a clip.
That's my
favorite Mark.
A lot of bad.
Well, Arnold, Rob Bottin's Arnold head choking.
No, Arnold's eyeballs poking out of his head are all Mad Mardigans. They're all Mad Mardigans.
I'll get to it right now. Yeah, I won't do any work for the next week. I'll.
That's all. That's
See you at the
all you
party.
do.
None of the orders got shipped.
See you at the party, Richter.
Party.
Brahma, if I have room, we'll get you on, but we'll see. But yes, that is gonna be this is gonna be an insane show next week.
Oh, Matt's gonna be on for Total Recall.
Matt will be back for
Well, his picture
Total
has to be
Recall.
used.
I thought maybe
Really?
he died or something because we haven't heard from him.
I hope you have me back, man, because that's my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever. I love that movie.
I wish I could say I would do that 2 weeks in a row, but I've already got it set, my friend. I do apologize in advance.
Don't worry, I'll be here anyway. I'll be
All
tearing
right.
up the chat.
And
Worry
yes,
not.
you will definitely be a repeat guest on here. That is a promise. You have been fantastic on this show today. You've kind of melded with us. Like it's perfect. So you have
One of us.
Like mind melded.
Yeah.
I love Joe, man.
You can
He's
thank the
great.
guy above me
I
right
know,
here, man.
Susie.
He's had me on a few shows.
We're gonna have
Joe's
you back
been on a lot
on.
of my streams. And he's great.
You're definitely gonna be coming on as you'll definitely be a repeat guest. You've already got that in you, so you have my
You
word
will
on
come
that,
again.
sir. You
Yes,
will
sir.
come.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Come again.
So
Thank
next
you,
week,
come again.
Total Recall. It's gonna be great. And no, the remake does not exist. All right.
No,
Anyways,
it doesn't. The only thing good about the remake is Kate Beckinsale's ass. That's about it. Okay. That's the only
All
thing
right.
good about it.
Can't argue with that.
Dustin.
Head on over to Keto Simple, youtube.com/Keto Simple. I have all kinds of recipes and review videos. We're funny. Come hang out, see what's going on, see what we got, see what keto's all about. You know what to do.
You heard the man, guys. Dustin, sir, you have a great night, great week. Thank you for coming on and joining us. It's been a fucking fun one tonight. So
Hell yeah.
I appreciate it. Until next time, sir. And guys, this is his channel. Sub to him and make it fucking happen. And yes, his videos absolutely fucking deliver. And then we got Tom. He could just say whatever he wants. I don't
I'm
really
just
care.
thinking if I get out of this YouTube thing, maybe I could open a haberdashery.
What are the hours?
What are the hours? Yes.
Have you got that in black?
No, we're all out. Sorry.
See, I could do that.
See, I could do that. You can find me on the channels on the YouTube. Is that like the radio? Well, it actually has video and audio, so it's like a music video.
Just like the telly.
Yes, but it's on demand. Oh, like the VCR, but not exactly. Like, where do you put the tapes?
Is that like a cassette?
I can't see where I put the tapes. Where's the button to press play? Can I record the football game? No, you can't fucking record the football game. It's pre-recorded, but it's on demand, right? Like it's live television. No, it's not live. It's in doubly.
Oh, Tom, thank you for being here, sir. It's been a fun night hanging out with you, dude. Serious.
This is for Brahma.
What do you call this? Well, this piece is called
Lick
Lick My Love Pump.
Lick my love pump. I love it.
He gave it 10 out of 10 love pumps. So there you go. Take care, Tom.
It's in D minor, the saddest chord of all.
Oh my God. You're gonna kill us all. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Good night. Good night, Cleveland.
He's gonna kill us all. Okay, Mark.
Oh man.
All
My
right.
face hurts.
But does it get cable? Like, do I get extra channels? Like HBO? No, you don't get HBO. Do I get BBC One?
Only if you pay your taxes. What's that TV? Oh God! But yeah, we could go on. I mean, we could probably quote this movie. Do the 4.5 hour version, and quote it all night. But
maybe you might have to do an extended edition.
Extended edition.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
We'll do it Mahler style. We'll do it Mahler style.
Yep. So here's a. I printed out of my 3D printer, so check out my channel for some 3D print. Should do a video on this one. I got to paint this sucker up, and
that is awesome.
It's a cool Eddie. I got to paint him, but it's pretty cool 3D print. So of course we're heavy metal, and of course I'm sending this to Nick. So I found this in my parents' basement. So here, I think I got her working.
Oh, it's lunch lady.
Little meat in these, Jim Mad. I want to hire a new staff. There's very little meat in these, Jim Mad. Thanks to the little budget cuts, I'm down to using grade F meat. I've been nursing that thing for an hour.
So this is perfect for Nick because it's the I know you have a few of these, so imitation gruel, and so this will work nice with those other ones you have. So
thank you, sir.
Enjoy that. I fixed the contact, so it's working now. So the batteries that exploded in there. So, but yeah. Let me post my channel in there. Check it out. I'm trying to get to 300, so I'm getting close. But yeah, enjoy hanging out with you guys. And then I'm on my Sunday Night Geekery is the show I'm on reviewing stuff. And maybe we'll talk about Frost this week. How sad that is that she's not on G4 anymore. It's really that's a real shock. That's a total
she
shock.
posts to brag how she survived it, and a few days later
it was gone.
She shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah,
she shut her fucking mouth, but she doesn't know how.
Yeah. So so we have my Sunday night show, and I'm on tomorrow night with Clobbering Times, and Raquel. We do the clubhouse and hang out there, and just God, this was fun tonight. So yeah, look forward to next week with Total Recall, and man, we'll make an appearance on the video and in person. It'll be great. Yep. So looking forward to that. Thanks, Nick, and everyone. Yep.
Thank you, Mark. And once again, sir, you are the MVP of the stream. Thank you, as always, for what you do for this. I appreciate
that was a fun
it.
one. And I get to
wait till next week.
I got to play my favorite clip again.
Can I raise a practical question at this point? Are we going to do Stonehenge tomorrow?
No, we're not gonna fucking do Stonehenge.
No.
Oh God, never gets old.
No, sir, you have a good night. Thank you. 70s.
Well, thanks again, Nick, for doing this wonderful series of shows that we're all involved with. Really appreciate it, mate. And thank you to the chat tonight and everybody on the panel. It was this is one of the greatest movies ever made, so that was a lot of fun. So I've got a few things on the go. Next Monday's It's Only Talk and Roll, my live show, will be about the titans of sort of rock, the FM radio staples of the 70s and 80s, your Journeys, your Foreigners, your Hearts, your Styxes. So it's going to be all about that stuff.
Nice.
Those bands that we all know the songs, and if I ever hear Don't Stop Believing once more, I will smash my head against the wall.
Yeah.
That's another one. There you go. Yeah.
That's what that show's about. The kings and queens of AOR, adult orientated rock. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with that. I've got a video which will probably be out tomorrow, which is a review of Brahmastra, the new Indian superhero film, and I'm working on a couple of science fiction book videos, and also a video in my Underlooked band series about a band called the Blasters.
Ooh.
One of LA's finest bands of all time, possibly the best Americana band, which is
never heard of them.
Well, then you're going to.
Yeah, thank you.
That's right.
The Blasters, are they the ones that did some music on Streets of Fire?
They did, sir. Yes, I know you know them very well. And
Yes.
yeah, they're a fantastic band. Dave Alvin, great guitar player and songwriter from the LA scene. And he was also in, for a while, he was in the band X, LA punk band, and so on. But anyway, I'll be doing a video about them very shortly. And looking ahead to October, when I'm off, when I'm finally finished work at the end of September, I'm going to do a live stream about Hammer Horror, because it will be nearly Halloween. So the Hammer Studios horror movies. That's a lot of stuff, so I think that's probably enough.
So don't watch regular TV, watch 70s.
Yeah.
And I'll be on Midnight Sage After Dark, thanks to Tom, and Fireball Productions, and lots of other things. So see you all there.
I would just like to promote women in baseball. If they did a female baseball league like this, I would definitely watch.
Someone's going to round those bases.
Is this Major League?
League of her own. She's in a league of her own.
She's definitely in a league of her own.
We're going to give you another sight for eyes.
Welcome to the Enterprise.
Yes. The Bridge of the Enterprise. I don't
Bet
think
she
he
doesn't play for
realizes
the-
he's full screen yet.
Does that girl, sorry, Tom, does she play for the Cardinals? Because they could do with someone who actually
I
score a run.
think so. Yeah. That girl's got legs all the way up to her ass.
Go all the way from
Well,
ass to
that's
the
usually
ground.
how long they go.
Great show, man. It was good to have you on, Joe. Man, I fucking love it. I owe that to 70s for meeting him, man. He's fucking awesome. And
Who, me or Joe?
He's talking about you, 70s.
for meeting Joe.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a matchmaker. I'm the Tinder of YouTube.
Yes, that's what you did in your Scottish village, right? Matchmaking.
Yes. Or was it Grinder? I can't remember. One or the other.
They're the same job. There you go. That's Keith and me right there, baby.
Oh, man. There you go. Oh, man.
I'm going to be posting one more video because, man, this weekend's convention was crazy. We did not know, we weren't warned in advance that we were the media coverage for the fucking convention. It's like, and so we didn't get a lot of the video that we wanted to do, but Keith and I did an interview with Noel Hannibal from Star Trek and a lot of other stuff. And so that one will be probably, I hope by Friday, it'll be ready to go over the weekend. But other than that, just morning coffee with me in the morning. And then Friday, we're going to do TGF, and Saturday fun time. This Saturday is going to be with my 3 childhood best friends who have all guaranteed to say something that will embarrass me. So I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Yes.
Well,
and there will be, ask them questions.
Oh, I will. That's going to be dirty.
Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you, man. I love being
awesome.
here. I'm so glad to be here, and the internet's working. You know,
I know you actually have working internet in 2022. I'm so proud of you. We've come
Captain's
a long
log,
way.
Start date 275.7.
Guys, sub to Gerry at Midnight's Edge Jr. / Pop Culture Minefield. All right, do it now.
Do it.
Our guests.
Do
we will absolutely have back on here sooner rather than later. Joe's Atmosphere, sir. It has been a fucking pleasure and a half, man. I'm so happy you came on and you killed it tonight, dude. I can't wait to do this again.
It's because of the company I keep, man. You guys are great. You guys are great. I have fun hanging with all of you. Thanks for having me, Nick. I really appreciate it. I've loved this show for a long time, and to finally be on it is a lot of fun. And I will be in the chat next week doing some of my favorite lines from that movie right there. I know a lot of people dig, like Predator or, some of the other stuff he's done, the Terminator movies, of course, but Total Recall. I'm a big spy story nut, man. I love the Bourne stories. I love James Bond, and that movie right there blew me away when I saw it. I thought it was fantastic. So you guys are going to have fun with that next week. Me, tomorrow night, I'll be doing my regular thing at 5:30 Central, doing State of the Atmosphere. It's just me talking to the chat. I start off with a subject, and then who knows who will show up. Hope Metallicus the First showed up last week with my friend Knock that I do a show with on the weekends. And we ended up talking about Star Wars all night, which tends to happen when Knock's around. So, but do that tomorrow night around 5:30. And then, of course, my brother and I, we hack the Matrix every Thursday night. We got our talk show where we talk about current events and everything we love, pop culture, movies, music, all that stuff. And chronicling the comic book on Saturday afternoons at 1:30 Central. Me and my man, Justified Jim, I took on a host for that show because sometimes I get so into the drawing back there that I stop talking. So my good friend, Justified Jim, who's another guy working on the comic book, he co-hosts with me and talks during it. And I got a new show on Sundays. It's a pregame for the NFL because if I'm addicted to anything in life, it is the NFL. I know it's sad. I know you guys all call it sports ball, but you know what? I love it. I always have, always will. I'm the same age.
Does that stand for Nude Film League?
Not for long is what it stands for. But anyway, me and my man Knock, we do a pregame. If you don't want to listen to these idiots on TV, you want to see a couple of idiots like you and me, then come watch us 10 o'clock Central, 2 hours before kickoff of the afternoon games. And once again, thank you, Nick, for having me. Thanks to every panelist on here. I look forward to working with you in the future. And thank you to the chat. Boys and girls, you're the best out there.
Awesome. Guys, once again, Joel's Atmospheres channel. Subscribe to his channel. Let's get him to 200. It'll be huge. Sir, once again, huge. I know I said before.
You got me to 100. You'll get me to 200. I'm not worried about it.
And we will. And it will be
it's
huge.
Getting there. It's getting there.
Seriously.
It's been doing nothing but growing since I was on your show.
You're so fun to have on here tonight. I can't wait. We'll have to figure out time to get you back on because you're
worry
so
not, man.
Much fun,
hey,
so.
You're a popular guy. You want to fight somebody? As long as it's not Gary, he's too big. But I'll fight somebody else.
Sir, you have a good night, a good week. I will see you soon, my man.
Yes,
all
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
Nick, you are so fucking metal.
All right.
Derek
kids.
Smalls was great tonight.
The
So
love
you're
job
so
of Harry
metal.
Shearer. Yes, that's
I
right.
heard that you're so metal that your hair grows in that way naturally.
My hair is made of metal, dude.
Your
I'm
face
metal.
hair, yeah.
I'm metal on metal. I mean,
You don't have to
I eat
shave your
metal.
chin or anything. It just grows in metal.
This just grows, and this just like has like a default shaver. It's great.
I'm saying you're like Joe Dirt.
Did you see like Bo Derek? Big difference.
And don't
It's
tell
Joe
a guy
Dirt
that
tape.
his
Don't
conditioner doesn't
church
work.
it up, son. It's dirt.
That's right.
All right. You heard about it. Next week, Talk to Tuesday. Total Recall. This week, Comic Shop Talk as well. We'll be talking some what if issues. And of course, you can find me on Midnight's Edge After Dark. You can find me on Yelling at Park Cars with Comics Division, the Dicks Division. And I've got a video or two coming out this week as well. So those are the things that are coming out. Seriously, guys, it's been a good week. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting Toxic Tuesday. I saw a few new faces in here tonight. Thank you for being here, by the way. I appreciate. Thank you to the super chatters, direct donationers. Love seeing all the familiar faces. Love seeing a few new faces as well. It's been fucking awesome, though. You guys, it's late. It's time we all go the fuck to sleep. Have a great night. Goodbye.